and
He's a
particle
Christian.
physicist, right?
He's
The
a
way he
Christian.
explains, yeah, the way he explains things are pretty rudimentary. He kind of talks to a lot of, he can break the complex things down to a
Down.
more rudimentary
Yeah.
audience. But that book, A Universe from Nothing, like me reading that, it kind of, it was not really a book for. It was great, kind of, because I follow him and I understand what he's talking about. But I think he was more trying to troll like mathematicians and other physicists. You know what I'm saying? Because he got them kind of up in arms with that. But that's what Brian Greene was talking about is and about also Neil deGrasse Tyson speaks on that too, about how why is not a scientific question. And I always said that is because you know, when you're asking why, that entails reason. And a reason only comes from a brain. Reasoning is a human thing, right? So the universe don't owe us no explanation. What I say is we have to accept what the universe reveals to us. So asking the universe why is not a scientific question. I think even Brian Greene in that clip even goes into say, when you're asking why, what you're really asking is how. You know what I'm saying? And that's the real scientific question is how and what. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to go into, Stu Pease. I'm gonna do a few segments, but at the end we're gonna go into that, and I'm gonna have you join me on the panel on Thursday if you can.
Yes, because when I tell people that they ask how and what, they don't ask why. People tend to push back and say, "Stupid, you don't know what you're talking about." I said they don't ask why because if you break down why and go back to what why means that there must be some conscious thinking. That's what why means. And the thing about it is that when you start to read those books and you start to understand nothingness and what nothingness is, because we're led to believe that the universe came out of nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
It is harder to go from 0 to 1 than 1 to a billion than 1 to infinity. The space from 0 to 1 is further than 1 to infinity. People don't understand that, you know. That imagine you have absolutely nothing. You and I can't imagine what that is like because we have never even faced that. A universe void of existence, right? 0.
It's but when you look out at the world, right? When you look out, you see that the energy of the universe is 0. It's wild, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is, right? Those super subatomic particles, right? That
it's
were
something.
that's something, right? But, so the thing is, the nothingness is when those particles pop in and out of existence in a time frame so fast that you couldn't even say it. You know, they move in Planck time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the thing pop in and out of existence in less than a fucking billionth of a second. So you know what I'm saying? And
that's why
nothingness is unstable. So you always wind up getting something out of nothing.
The good old Higgs boson.
But where it come from? Where did it come from? It came from somewhere where something existed.
Unstable. That's where it came from.
And that's why them said there's a multi-dimensional universe.
No, that's because there's always been that's because there's always been time in nature. Y'all got this wrong.
Time is connected. Time. I'm gonna go over that. But time is connected to the material world. You understand that?
Right.
So
I understand.
Space-time can bend, right? So when the universe popped into existence, right? Time popped in. Space and time came into existence at the same time. So that's why you'll hear physicists say to talk about before the Big Bang is not even a real question. There may not be a such thing as before the Big Bang. The
Well,
first
see,
time
So nothing
I haven't heard
existed.
you say that. I
that's
haven't
what I
heard anybody
understand.
say
Nothing,
that.
That's
That
nothing,
who was that talking? That
nothing
was
existed before. Nothing existed before the Big Bang.
see,
Time
and
didn't
that's why
exist. Space
that's
didn't exist.
illogical, and that's
Nothing.
why
Hey,
my
let's move
that's
the
why
conversation
that's
around
why
because
my
that
Nothing.
argument.
nothing that you talk about, Stupides,
Yeah,
the nothing that existed was actually
yeah.
something, though. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
Correct.
listen,
That is why the
listen,
concept of nothingness is a problem.
Okay,
Because
that's
real quick,
we
real
listen.
quick.
always
Let
say that
Oli
there's
get in the
something.
conversation. Let Oli get in. Go ahead, Oli.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying, if we know that the concept of nothing is unintelligible and there has always been something, then we have to presuppose that time and nature has always existed. You write about the perceptions of time and how it seems to be, and that don't mean time ain't there. And if you saying that time, nature, or time and matter, you call it matter, and existence had to come into um existence at the same time, that's
Mhm.
basically saying what I'm saying. Time and nature has always been. That way, you know that nothing comes from that something comes from nothing. So that only means that time and nature has have to always had been. That's the only logical explanation for that scenario right there.
So you just putting a name. You're doing the it's basically infinite regress there, right? Um, if you I don't really have time to explain Stupids because my delivery is here. If you can kind of explain what Brian Green said,
No, man. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I get rid.
no,
That's where I get.
my
That's
man,
hold on. Before y'all
my
talk
break
about
is up.
infinite regress, before you talk about infinite regress, that's where my philosophy gets rid of infinite regress because it don't show its face because there has always been something. Infinite regress only comes from creation. If something has always been, there's no infinite regress because time, nature, and existence has always been. There's always been existence because there's time and nature. There's no infinite
Yeah.
regress in my system whatsoever. That's only in creation.
Also, you use the word creation, right? That means there was a
And I didn't even get to hear it. My apologies.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that it's possible that he wasn't talking about the Americans because we know in the world the culture that we have, the precedents that we set, and the way that it seems to the rest of the world that there isn't a structure in our culture over here. We know that deep in the homes and things of there's a certain kind of learning that goes on within America that's better than the learning over there in Africa, and they would not care to bring African kids to America.
Hmm. I'm reading something on Governor Gavin Newsom's page. And he says, Governor Gavin Newsom is demanding immediate answers from the Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. following deeply troubling comments recently suggesting Black children prescribed medications should be removed from their homes and reparented. Okay. Following deeply troubling comments recently surfaced suggesting Black children prescribed medications should be removed from their homes and at a congressional hearing yesterday, the secretary was unable to answer for his racist comments from a podcast interview when directly questioned by Congresswoman Terry Sewell. It says Governor Gavin Newsom says we've known RFK Jr. has been unfit to serve as secretary, but these resurfaced remarks reflect a racist mentality that is absolutely unacceptable for a leader charged with protecting the health of 341 million Americans. We cannot go numb to the insanity of this federal administration. Okay, but I want to. So wait, that looks like he's targeting kids in the United States, Black children that have that are on medications in the United States.
Yeah,
So that looks
right.
like he's talking about us.
Yeah, it do look like it, but that's why I'm saying that's why it flew over everybody's head. And that's why he didn't answer them questions, because he's really trying to get the kids from Africa. Now we send medication and all of that to over there, and it's reoccurring. Like they get more aid over there than we get here because we have a way to go actually purchase the aid. So him being the secretary, you see the position that he in. He's not worried about America. They're worried about the population and getting the population up over here to bring those kids that they keep on sending money to over there to here. They won't have to send the money there no more. And it
But
flew
where
over
do
everybody's head.
do you have something that says Africa though? So I can read it. I want to see like
No, they ain't gonna say Africa. They ain't gonna say Africa because
okay.
they
So
ain't
you're
gonna,
saying it's more like the plan. Okay.
yeah. That's why I say that the cat almost got out the bag, and that's why he would answer those questions. If he would have answered those questions, they would have saw that there is more people involved in that he was saying, because they're putting together a plan to, like I say, to repopulate
So
our community.
you're on your conspiracy theorist frontier right now, it seems like, because you're saying like he didn't actually say it. You have to know. That's like
I was mad.
More reading between the lines.
I was mad because Sweet Pea was trying to say that the Black people in America was dumb, and he was saying the way he was saying.
I like to identify conflict before we go further. So now you know his name is Stu Peas, but you're saying it's Sweet Pea because y'all been into it before.
It's Stu. No, it's Stu. I swear I didn't know it was Stu.
Okay,
I remember what it was.
Because a lot of times in these conversations, I figure out in mid argument that these two motherfuckers never they arguing about some shit from months ago. They got sorted out right now. So I just wanted to make sure because somebody else called him Sweet Pea. They knew his name was Stu Peas. Yes.
No, it's Stu Pea. I just missed because I ain't dealt with him a lot.
Cool. That's
cool. But you're right, it is Stu Pea.
That's cool. Shout out to you, Samurai. So reparenting. Maybe sometimes I learn things on here, Titan, I never heard of in my life. Right? 2 children, multiple brothers and sisters. I've never heard of this term. So reparenting is a psychological self-help concept where an adult learns to give themselves the emotional guidance, care, boundaries, and support they may not have consistently received in childhood. Okay, let me read that again. Reparenting is a psychological self-help concept where an adult learns to give themselves the emotional guidance, care, boundaries, and support they may not have consistently received in childhood. So, in regard that doesn't make sense to me. I'm reading it and it doesn't make sense. I'll try again. When people mention RFK Jr. and reparenting, they're referring to comments that he has made about healing trauma, addiction, recovery, emotional development, or personal growth. So, the simple meaning of reparenting, it can include learning to self-soothe instead of set healthy boundaries, build discipline and routine, speak to yourself with compassion, process childhood wounds, choose healthier relationships, become the stable parent to yourself now. This sounds more like this for adults. So when we're saying reparenting, I don't hear kids in this. Hold on. Y'all go ahead. I don't hear kids in this. This sounds like some shit
And that's why, and that's
traumatic adults are doing to them for themselves. Because like this says, where an adult learns to give themselves the emotional guidance, care, boundaries, and support, they may not have consistent.
Yeah, Freddie, I have an Eddie here to see you.
Yeah, Eddie, please.
Okay, all right, copy that.
Hey, we don't want to know about that.
Okay,
You're reading the wrong article.
No, this is the guy with the Honda Sonata.
We don't care about the Sonata Slade.
With the white cars coming. I don't know when though.
Okay, all right.
You gonna be mad somebody muted him.
Reparenting is to parent again. That just doesn't make sense.
You said I'm reading the wrong article, Shay?
Yeah, you definitely reading something from you pulled something else.
Well, I'm in ChatGPT, so I mean that's what I'm trying to.
ChatGPT pulled something else. What the Congress woman was talking about was kids being reparented. Kids that was she was asking about him about a comment that he made on a podcast where he suggested that African American children are going to need to be reparented after they, because they were put on medications. Basically saying African American parents are doing a bad job, right? With putting their children on medications. And that these kids need to be reparented because their parents obviously don't know what they're doing because they allowed them to be put on medication in the first place. When when the education system is telling these parents that these children, along with the doctors, that these children need to be medicated, right? So that's what's happening. It's not that the parents are bad parents. Parents are looking at the guidance and the authoritarianism of the education system, along with the healthcare system, that is in tandem prescribing medication as a remedy for the child. You dig what I'm saying? So it ain't that the African American parents are bad, right? If that's the case, is that the education system along with the healthcare system is basically, that's something that they're prescribing, right? So if RFK should be actually talking about the education system and the healthcare system together, that's what might needs to be looked at, and not the parents, right?
Agreed.
That would be crazy to blame that on the parents, right? The parents are not the professionals in that in education and in healthcare. So if education and healthcare is the ones that's making these diagnoses and prescriptions, then they're the ones who need to be looked at if that's the problem. You feel me? First off, you got to figure out if that's actually the problem. Do we believe that ADHD and hyper? Do we believe that's true? Do we believe the medical field at this point? So RFK is all over the place. He's
absolutely not.
Because when I look up reparenting, it does the actual term reparenting. So I'm looking at a couple of the books. I don't know if he's using that correctly. Right. Because it's the four pillars, the four pillars of reparenting: loving, discipline. This is from someone's book, How to Do the Work, Dr. Nicole LePera. The four pillars of reparenting are loving, discipline, self-care, emotional regulation, and joy. And it says there are the frameworks component. I should have did this as a show so I can share this. I actually want to learn about this in real time. Maybe I'll go live later.
But I thought we were live.
No, we are. I'm talking about like StreamYard live, not Discord chat live.
So Brad, so think about it, right? So it goes back to the COVID-19 situation, right?
Right.
Whereas a lot of things that enter into the black community, right, it comes from pseudo white people, right? It comes from pseudo white people because black people, for the most part, no matter what you believe, we might be scared of the doctors, right? But we pretty much listen to them motherfuckers, right? We are basically at their mercy, right? So when they tell when they tell us that we have an ailment, right? We pretty much believe them and take whatever medicine that they fucking give us. You feel me? We pretty much, you know what I mean? So, and it's the same way with our children. If they tell us our children have a learning disability or something that's hindering their ability to learn, we listen, and when they prescribe medicine, we give it to them. Now, when they tell us our children need certain vaccines to enter school, right? We take our children to the doctors and we get them vaccinated, and that's it. White people are the ones that buck the system and don't believe the shit and, don't follow the rules. That shit filters into the black community. So whenever you hear black people start talking about, I ain't giving my child no vaccine, we got that shit from white people. You dig what I'm saying? The vaccines is creating autism. We got that shit from motherfucking white people. The vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine is going to fuck with our hearts. We got that shit from fucking white people. You dig what I'm saying? Don't give your children ADHD medicine. We got that shit from white people, JFK and them. We don't come up with that crazy shit. We basically listen. You dig what I'm saying? We are trained to listen to fucking white people, right or wrong. You know what I mean? So all of that crazy shit basically come from fucking white people. Black people don't run around motherfucking talking this crazy conspiracy shit like that. Our conspiracies are more about racism, right? And not the medical system as a whole. If we have something against the medical system, it's something that has to do with impartial treatment uh, because because of racism and not medicine as a whole, right? We don't disagree with education. We disagree with how education has been disseminated to black people, meaning the impartial treatment in the education system. Not, you dig what I'm saying, that they're deliberately trying to, teach us. I think that shit come from white people. But I'm hogging the mic. I don't want to hog the mic.
But how do we break that cycle? I guess that's going to be the question, because like I can give you two instances with each of my children. For one, my son, he was having allergy issues, breathing issues, all kinds of shit. They had him on 7 different medications, right? So I started plugging and playing the medications. Okay, this one made no difference. Okay, I'm throw this one out. Okay, we're not gonna do this one, we're not gonna do this one. Do you know that I got social services called on me because I was refusing medication that was prescribed by my child's pediatrician? Now, what I decided to do, okay, well, since y'all are going to come after me and try to say that I'm neglecting my child because I refuse to have a 4-year-old on 7 damn medications, what I started doing is, okay, how do I get around this shit? So what I started doing, I go every month on time, filled all of his prescriptions, and threw that shit in the trash. You know? I mean, it is what it is.
No, Didi, right? So medicine is a practice, right? There's always a thing as what would you call it? You can go to another doctor, right? You can go to another doctor and voice your concern. If you're not getting the treatment that you believe you should be getting, right, or that's right for you, you can get a second opinion, right?
It's a little bit harder being a military thing, because I mean they all it wasn't no damn different.
Yeah.
Right. You go to a different doctor, but you're gonna get the same damn way of thinking. And with my daughter, that bitch bounced off of walls, and she would drive me crazy. She was really, really hard. And so when she got to first grade, they were like, listen, we did this evaluation, we did the blah, 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 the survey. She has ADHD. She needs to go on medication. I'm like, hell no, she ain't going on medication. Now, here's my issue with things, right? We will research anything that we're interested in. If you were to say something right now and it was about, like, if a hip hop person said something and somebody didn't know about it, they're going to go straight to damn Google and they're going to research and try to find out about it. Why are we not doing that about things that have to do with our children?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get in
Because
somewhere.
when they did that with my daughter, I'm like, I'm not fucking medicating her. I can't stand out of state medication. You need to find another way. So with her, I did my research. Okay, she's bounced off the walls, blah, 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 blah. And that's how I found it's called the Feingold diet. So basically what the Feingold diet is it takes all of the dyes, all of the, like instead of Oreos, they have these things called, I think it's Annie-O's. Instead of Kraft macaroni and cheese, they have the Annie's macaroni. Like they have the different versions that are made or, without the dyes, without this stuff. Do you know that within a month, she was a totally different child? No medication. I just did some research. Oh, Feingold diet. Let's try this. And it worked. Was it hard? Yes, because you take her to McDonald's and get her a Happy Meal, it was on and popping, wide open. But long as I stuck to, her to that diet, she was good. So if we're willing to research, what Jordan came out with a new pair of shoes, everybody's on the internet researching it. We need to start getting just that adamant about our children. And like when he was just saying,
that's a fact.
Oh
no,
no, and
you're
then
absolutely right.
And so I just had one more thought. When he was saying reparenting, I was thinking about it, and then he read the definition. And I think about, so when all this was happening, I said, fuck this. My children are not going to this damn school. I'm going to figure it out. So I brought them home, and people talk about homeschooling, but there's actually a method that's called unschooling, where basically, your child went to school and there was in this, 8-hour days, sit at the desk, do this, lunchtime, everything's in segments. You do math now, you do science now. Well, in unschooling, you throw all that shit out the way and you let the child kind of dictate what they learn, how they learn. And you use more like natural ways of learning. And so I was like, maybe it should be unparenting instead of reparenting. Because like for instance, I'll tell you the perfect thing. In school, children have math, they have science, they have reading, like they have all these subjects broken into different components, right? Or in different sections. So a typical day for my children when I was schooling them, let's see, what's one that I really like? Okay, so here's one. So I took them to the library and I had them go through cookbooks and they had to determine a recipe that they wanted to cook. So once they got the recipe that they wanted to cook and we got a copy of it, I took them home and now they had to go through the cabinets, see what ingredients they had, what ingredients they didn't have, and they had to come up with a grocery list. Okay, so I might tell one of them, your recipe, I want you to double yours. Your recipe, I want you to cut it in half. Okay, so now they're using that to get their ingredients together, seeing what they need, how much they need, and all that kind of stuff. So now we go to the grocery store. Okay, so while we're at the grocery store, let's say that it needs, I don't know, let's say that it needs, I don't know, Parmesan cheese, right? They're not allowed to just pull it off of the shelf and say, oh, I got Parmesan cheese. No, 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 no. What I need you to do is there's a 16 ounce and there's an 8 ounce. I need you to find the one that's the best deal. Sometimes the best deal was getting the bigger one. Sometimes the best deal was getting 2 of the smaller ones. They had to figure that out. A grocery trip was not just a grocery trip when we were doing school. They had to figure all this out. Then when you get home, you had to put the recipe together. And it's kind of cool when you're seeing young kids saying, okay, Well, it says a pound, that's 16 ounces, and I'm only going to make half of the recipe. So half is 6. Okay, so a pound, 16 ounces. Half of that's going to be 8 ounces. I only need 8 ounces. So, and if you fuck up something, guess what? There's your site. So we just covered math. We just covered reading comprehension. We just covered, I don't know what, homemaking or whatever. We just covered tons of subjects in one lesson of just cooking. And now sometimes we end up with some fucked up meals. I remember one time my daughter did spaghetti, my son
I would
did chip
imagine.
beef. Yeah, like chip beef or some shit he
Disgusting.
did. Like it's really weird. But the way they learned, even though they learned that way, it was very easy when they went to high school and decided they wanted to go to public school. It was easy for them to make that transition and take their real life experiences and put it on paper. Like my son, his biggest thing is he's like, I'm not doing the fucking homework. He would ace tests, do all kinds of stuff, but you wasn't gonna get him to do no homework. But so I'm just saying sometimes, definitions can be kind of weird, but so
No,
that's
and
why
I
I'm
want to
saying
get
maybe
into that though.
unparenting.
What
I
was
want to
his
get into that.
definition for
Yeah,
reparenting?
his definite. No, so all right. So we'll stay on that, but I want to go back into that unschooling because there's that some people read the word and they don't necessarily know exactly what it is, but you described it very well. So his RFK's plan is not necessarily what reparenting is. Reparenting is more about, from what I've read, and y'all can, I've been reading about a little bit about this just now. From what I gather in a short amount of time, is that reparenting is more about adults. The actual reparenting is more about adults who, based on trauma in their childhood or lack of parenting in their childhood, as adults, you learn, you reparent. So you find the joy, you identify the trauma so that you can live a healthy adult life, right? So it's more like a reform for adults. RFK, how he's using reparenting is more for children. He's trying to maybe, he's identifying Black kids with ADHD, basically with the medications, like Chef said, that he's wording, I apologize, I just drank some orange juice, I shouldn't have done that. The way he's identifying it is that they're gonna take kids that have, basically parents don't know what the hell they're doing. They're putting kids on medicines, and he's saying, to be
Now,
honest,
I just
this
watched
shit
a full
sounds
clip,
crazy.
Brass, and that's actually not the context of the conversation.
Okay, go ahead.
Because before I speak on stuff, I have to have the evidence before me. So I waited, and then I'm actually on my phone. I was trying to find the clip of where he's saying it. I don't even like the terms he's using because they just sound bad. Like, I don't know why he chose the word farm or any of that stuff. Even
Right.
reparenting, I almost think he may have misspoke after listening to it. But what they are generally rehab facilities for anyone. They're not even just for Black kids. So to make that the focus seems like they're trying to frame it to paint him in a bad light. The first 60 seconds of the conversation, he's saying this farm, I guess, is for everybody who has problems with addiction. Then he goes into, and the youth, especially, he said, especially Black youth who are on Adderall, and he's saying that these things make them more prone to violence, the medications that they're on. And he's creating a community with no cell phones where people can come and, like you were saying, work on triggers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm disgusted with the framing and the way that they're trying to make it seem, because they don't add
It's
that into
about
the
Black people.
conversation. It's about Black people now, when that's not what it was about. This is for adults and everyone. So this is just another, it seems like, I don't want to use the word Democrat, but that's the way to demonize what they're doing. And they know most people won't read the fine print, and they're just going to go off of the headline.
Okay, so in Forbes, Titan, this is just so, because So essentially, what this was, they're questioning him on something that he said on a show, not necessarily what his plan was. They're quoting him on something that he said. So he said trying to get the actual article, it's in okay, you've already admitted. Okay, so it's saying, okay, at the time of the podcast, Kennedy was a candidate in the 2024 presidential election. It says throughout the interview, he explored various campaign promises, including a plan to fight the drug epidemic by creating rehabilitation facilities in rural areas. The facilities would mirror wellness farms he encountered during his time in the Peace Corps. Rehabilitation, this is his quote, rehabilitation facilities that I'm going to start in rural areas all over the country where say any American can go for free. Anyone who is dependent on drugs, either legal drugs or illegal drugs, psychiatric drugs, which every black kid is now just standardly put on Adderall, SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence. So he did this on Earn Your Leisure. But he did this on EYL. So he was on EYL. I'm gonna play that podcast. I want to hear exactly what he said. But he starts off saying it's for any American. But the reason why they're tailoring it towards black kids is because at the end of the sentence, Titan, he says A1. He says, which every black kid is now just standardly put on Adderall, SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence. And those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented, to live in a community where there'll be no cell phones, no screens. You'll actually have to talk to people. Okay, so that's where the black child part comes in, A1. So then she asks him, I'm not making this up. In your opinion, what factors should the federal government consider when representing reparenting a black child who has been on ADHD or ADD medication? That's rhetorical. And then he said that my comments were taken out of context. So he initiated the black kid part, and she harped on it specifically because he finished his statement with black kids. And he says prior to his time this is a statement from the HHS. Prior to his time as secretary, he described these communities as spaces where individuals, particularly young people facing alienation, mental health challenges, and rising rates of despair could undergo a form of reparenting. In psychotherapy terms, reparenting involves developing emotional regulation, discipline, boundaries, and self-worth that may not have been established in childhood through consistent care, accountability, and supportive relationships. So yeah, he was talking about every American, but when you finish off with black kids on ADD, benzos, and Adderall, it will be framed as, because he invited that. I'm gonna watch the interview.
I see I see how it can lean that way, but
yeah, I'm gonna watch the interview.
It's apparent that it wasn't his focus. It's apparent that these farms aren't targeting black kids, and like he just thinks that they should be involved in what he's doing with breaking people from addiction and breaking people from pills and it seems in line with what Dee was talking about, which is why I definitely let her land her plane as I was watching the video. She was cooking. It seems like he's on his Dr. Umar without the school.
Terrifying.
But terrifying. In trying to give us alternatives to these medications, we don't necessarily know all the effects of these medications. We know what they tell us the effects are, but yeah, it's a conversation to be had. I'm looking forward to Thursday. I'm definitely gonna be there.
Yeah, I might go over this a little bit today to set it up for my brother Corey, because this is interesting. I heard that he was at hearings, but I didn't know that this was the thing. All the hearings, something comes out of it, that ends up being like the line that you're supposed to leave with. 5, 6, 7 different lines. Apparently, this is one, but I didn't get that from this.
Yeah. So for a
Dee
person who really believes that the medication is good, they're going to focus on that. Oh, you're coming at black kids. People who don't agree with medication, they're not going to hear it like that.
that's a fact. That's a fact. When Dee brought up reparenting and the dyes, I just want to be clear. That fine gold diet. So what I do to take care of my family is one thing. What I do in service to the community, our family believes in that too. That's on our crest, right? And service to the community is part of that in my real life. And uh, I would be remiss because mine is more dealing with youth empowerment programs, all female group, all young male group. So what I do is young female group, young male group. So what I do is in dealing with these kids, you run into kids from all different walks of life, all different national races, and the fine gold diet came up a while ago in regards to removing the dyes and all of that. And that now I want to be clear on something. That's not something that it has worked, but I don't want to. Me personally, I just want to give the clarity of because there may be people with children that are listening to this. Now that's not a clinical prescription from us. I don't know the science. Go look into that. Look into the science of that. I don't know if it may not work. It may work. What works for one child may not work for another child. So just being responsible, I want to at least say, look into it, and you make a decision as a parent. What maybe worked for Dee Dee's child may not work for you. I'm just glad that worked for you, right? It doesn't say that it doesn't work, but it does say that it's not something that's a cure-all. Then part two, the unschooling. So most people look at definitions, particularly in this community, and they just see a word and they just say, what do you mean? They're just not going to school? No. What Dee Dee was explaining to you, and you may not have caught it, is unschooling. I'm familiar with unschooling. When you're dealing with kids specifically in the inner city and in Ohio and rural areas, there are a lot of kids that are homeschooled. For those that don't grow up in the country like I did, our schools are actually set around the kids being able to work on the farm also. They were able to come to school a little later. They were able to get off school a little earlier, but they were still able to meet the requirements of whatever the state was or the county or however that worked. So, because we got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 hours before school even started. It's one of the reasons why I still can't really sleep past 5. I may go back to sleep at some point, but I really can't sleep past 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So, and that's just from childhood. You just raised that way. But unschooling does not mean neglect. I want to say that again. Unschooling does not mean neglect. So the way Dee Dee explained it is a form of homeschooling. And when they say it's driven by the child, it's not led by the child. It's led by the child's interests. And I'm not saying, Dee Dee, the way you explained how y'all did what y'all did at the store is exactly what homeschooling, dependent on the child, is. They're learning, but it's led by the child's interests. So a lot of times we have a high school in New Jersey. If you're from New Jersey, you know this high school. It's on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, ironically. Michael B. Jordan graduated from this high school. Shouts out to him, Best Actor award at the Oscars. So we have a school called Arts High. In some areas, they got technical schools. Arts High is more, you have to take a test or you have to do things to get into that school. Now, it's still a school, but they identify kids whose talents, who want to go into something kind of outside, lawyer, doctor, this, that, and the other. They identify their talents, and then you go in that school. If you're an actor, you're a cellist, you're whatever it is that you want to do, they more focus on those kinds of things, and then you get your curriculum. So unschooling would look like this, because if you just look at the word unschooling, you'd say neglecting your child. Unschooling looks like you're kind of going off a child's curiosity and their experiences and trying to figure out a way to make sure they learn. So I looked up something. Unschooling often uses projects, reading by interest. So instead of grade levels, textbooks, scheduled subjects, texts, and worksheets as the center of their schooling, unschooling is more projects, reading by interest, conversations, travel, like Dee Dee said, cooking, games, entrepreneurship, museums, daily life problem solving, and self-directed study. So an example of unschooling would be a child interested in basketball. They would still learn math, but they would learn it through basketball stats. And they would figure out how to take the numbers and correlate it to how, to lean on the child's curiosity. Physics, they would learn that through shooting angles. Writing, they might learn that more through sports journalism rather than just regular writing. Two more. History, they learn it through civil rights and different sports figures to then go on and learn about the rest of history. And geography, they would help them learn that through teams and cities. So it doesn't mean that they're doing nothing, but there's a dangerous aspect, Dee Dee, to that, and I'm sure you would agree. It can also, in some cases, lead to neglect. You're basically being led around by the child. If you don't do it correctly, they won't have core skills. There are certain core skills. It can't all be just fun. Some of it has to actually meet the standards of the state, anybody, and some of it, because it's homeschooling. And if y'all have children, y'all remember this during COVID. I know for me, my daughter and my son, I tried the let them do work in pajamas, and maybe somebody else could chime in, cut me off. But I tried the whole let them get up out of, because our schools were closed for almost a year, and I tried the whole let them just sit to the table. You could do the homework in your room, you can do the classes in your room, get out the bed though, but you got to sit to your desk. And then we have a school room where they go and do their homework in our house. And for about a week, I realized like, hell nah. So we kept the same repetition. We had them take the showers at night, take the shower in the morning, get fully dressed, sit to the table, go to the we call it like a reading room in our house, but go to that room, sit up, sit to the table like you in class. Because homeschooling, I've learned, I don't know how people can homeschool, because you kind of need to leave. For me, I need to leave the house to go to school. I don't know if I could do homeschooling. It's too many distractions. I need a clear separation, if that makes sense. Did y'all have kids? Anybody in here had kids during COVID that had an issue like that? Like it was actually difficult for them to kind of go to school at home versus going to school at the actual school? Anybody?
Yeah. Growing up, my nieces and nephews, they had to stay home, through the whole COVID thing, during that little era of schooling. One overcoming problem that we had to deal with was being more integrated into what they did home, right? Because they're still children. So you tell a child to go sit on the computer don't go to class, they don't even want to be in the building of school. So they don't want to talk to no boring ass school teacher. But when children have a fun, influential figure that can help them with stuff like this, it make anything, no matter where they at, no matter what they learn, it make it all the more fun, right? So for my nephew, you were speaking earlier about unschooling in sports. So my nephew, he was big in football, and when they had their home classes and whatnot, and if he had a little issue or something, I will always refer back to football. Hey, Uncle Humble, hey, I got this issue right here, and I don't know what this means. Can you help me with this? And I sit down, I break it down to him, I read it to him, I show him how to read it. But that's what I feel like children are missing. Children are missing the one-on-one with teachers. They're missing teachers with their parents should be teaching their children. You shouldn't leave all education up to a teacher. No, you are an adult. You are very educated. You should pass down what you know to your child. So when children are even learning, you should help your child learn how you learn. Sometimes we all learn different, but sometimes you can find easier teaching methods than what the teacher is giving them. So then you can come and say, okay, well, I know they taught you this way, but then, you know, you can get like me and my wife, right? We teach our daughter, like, so I remember when they changed the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? And our older daughter came home and they gave her a little math packet and they wanted her to do it a certain way. But we taught her, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And she went to school the next day and she was like, and it was like, oh, well, we don't do that no more. That's outdated.
Good old PEMDAS.
Oh,
you just brought back memories. Go ahead.
Oh, but that's just not how we do math nowadays. It's a different formula. Bro, but it's you getting the same fucking answer. It doesn't matter if the formula is different or not. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like we as parents need to instill what we've learned into our children as well. I land my
like the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. A lot of kids will remember things like that, and that's a good way to that's always a good way to teach your kids, like little sayings, little jingles, or whatever, to kind of remind them of what the order of operations is and shit like that. So yeah, absolutely. I still use the same. We talked about this, Brad. What was it, just last week? We talked about please excuse. Yeah. So yeah, I still refer to that still today. And again, I got elementary school age kids, and definitely when the thing is, like what my man is saying is real important, to make sure that, because my kids was in school when the pandemic was going on too, but it was real important to kind of not just tell them like, yo, it's time to get up and sit down at the computer. Like, you know, my wife would sit down with her at, you know, when it was class time, and, you know, kind of go over it with her. And, you know, I would hear them in there laughing and talking, and, you know, the other students is laughing and talking and just having fun. You know, you got to make learning fun. And I think that's a lot of times what teachers can't do, because you got 30 kids in the class and you're not able to kind of reach each and every kid on that one-on-one level that you should, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely. I also supplement the teaching at school with a tutor, because, you know, a lot of times me and my wife, we work a lot and we don't have that time to kind of give that one-on-one attention. So, but that one-on-one attention is needed. So, I mean, if you can't do it, at least have like an older brother or sister, aunt, or if you can afford that tutor, you know, always supplement that schooling with some more one-on-one on the weekends. We do it on Sundays. We meet with the tutor on Sundays. So always have at least a day, you know, or two out of the week where you are getting that supplemental education for the kids. But I'll stop there.
Yeah, and please, if you can find some kind of program or something to get those children in during those summer times too, because they lose so much during those summer months. So if you can find anything to get in, that's another thing. I personally, so if you read about public schools, they public school really wasn't meant to be for everybody. If you like reading, I would highly suggest the book is called The Thomas Jefferson Education. And that's kind of was my kickstart to deciding to homeschool mine, because if you think about it, let's say you have a child in first grade. They tell you, okay, in science, they're starting here. They need to be here by the end of the year. In math, they start here. They need to be here at the end of the year. And they have that for each subject. But what if your child is super advanced in one subject, like math? I think, and it's just my personal belief, that a lot of behavior problems come from things like that. Because like my son, oh my gosh, he stayed in trouble the 1 year he went to school. He was in kindergarten, and it was because they're learning ABCs, they're learning 1, 2, 3s, they're learning how to write their name. He went into kindergarten knowing how to do that. So his behavior issues, what I'm not gonna say he wasn't bad, because he a handful sometimes, but a lot of it was just it was a behavior problem just because he already knew that stuff. So
Yeah,
I mean, there's pros and cons to it. That's all I can say. Like there's this one mom, I could not believe it. She had a son that was 12 years old. There was nothing wrong with this kid. He's smart as anybody. And he was still doing CAT spells cat because she hadn't advanced him at all. She was hurting her son. Bad.
Also, there. Oh, I apologize, sister. Go ahead, land your plane.
No, you got to have that.
I will say there's also, just as the sister was saying, there's also kids out here like myself. When I was in school, we had a thing where we challenged authority a lot when it came to education, because we were smart and we like to learn, and you just not about to tell me anything. So I go to school, right? Okay, we learn about the presidents. I go home, research about the presidents, come back to school. Hey, you was wrong about this. You know, I think we should go over this because you taught us some misinformation about that. You know, we go to history, come back. Oh yeah, you was wrong about this. You know, we need, and then it's, oh, you can't tell me what I'm wrong about. You a child. Who are you to tell me what I'm wrong about? I mean, but this is a simple Google search. I'm not saying I'm a professor and I'm light years ahead of you. I'm just telling you, you gave me some information yesterday. I went home and researched the information you gave me. 60% of the information you gave me was wrong or misleading. We gotta fix this. Like, what you doing? You want me to learn from you, but you want me to take all the misinformation from you. We not doing that. And so I was one of them kids. And so that's where, like this was saying, my behavior issues in school came from, was because I was challenging the teachers to teach me something I did not already know. I was in the 11th grade, right? And so we in Black history, you know, we got a sociology class. And so the teacher stands up before us and for Black History Month, he say, we're gonna do a report on Martin Luther King. Now I'm in class with a bunch of 12th graders who are about to go to college next month. What is a bunch of 12th graders about to sit here and give you a 2-page report on Martin Luther King, as if we didn't do this in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. Like, you can't find nothing.
I would have put you out my class. I would have put you out my class. So you sound very problematic. Like, you telling the teacher they teaching you wrong. You don't want to do the plan that they set out for you. Like, that is a behavioral
That's part
issue.
of the problem. Having a plan. Like my kids, I think everybody in school read that damn book, To Kill a Mockingbird. I hated that book.
It ain't about what you like. Y'all do understand that's called behavioral. That's called behavioral.
But it was an underlying message. One mic. Let Chef get it started out. One mic, and then go to DD back home. Go ahead, Chef.
Yeah, that's literally what we call a behavioral issue. You dig what I'm saying? Like, the teacher gives it. I mean, I loved when the teacher gave me something that was easy, that I already knew. You feel me? Oh, I can knock that the fuck out. You feel me? Like, I want something harder. That's insane. You feel me? Like, you do go to school with certain information, right? Every student come to school already a little bit more advanced and weaker in certain areas. You dig what I'm saying? So you're bucking on the areas that you was already strong on. You dig what I'm saying? You should have been asking that motherfucking math teacher to maybe you need to put me in an advanced, you know what I mean, math class, or challenge yourself that way. You dig what I'm saying? That probably would, but we don't do shit like that. You feel me? Like, so yeah, that's a behavioral issue. But y'all go ahead.
So
Alright.
the thing, so the thing is about being a child, right? Being 11, 12, growing up in the projects, right? Where you're being told that all you're going to be is black and slow all your life and a drug dealer. Education isn't pushed in places like that. So we take, as children, we took whatever education that the school system and our parents told us to take. So I was a very rare breed in the projects that had questions about the education that I was getting, because I didn't want to be a statistic growing up. You see what I'm saying? It was, man, statistics. I'm not going to be one. So when I started taking my education serious at the age of 13, 14, and 15, you're right, I started asking questions, because even as an adult, none of us want to be misled, even as adults. Why y'all think as children we want to be misled? Every adult isn't meant to lead. Every adult isn't meant to teach. And so if I'm sitting in the class, if my child is sitting in the class, I tell my child to this day, hey, listen, you in class and you feel like they're not doing their job well enough, hey, you go tell a principal, you go tell another teacher. Because you as a child is a human being. You have rights. Ain't nobody gonna take your rights away from you. And if you feel like, hey, this is wrong and I can't accept this teaching because it does not benefit me, it does not help me out in the real world, so then yeah, teacher, me and you gotta have a conversation. I don't want this bull crap. I want something real. You teaching me something accurate.
How old did you say you were?
13, 14.
13. So just so
You getting out of my class.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to like, yeah, this. Hey, what's up with y'all too though? But like, man, the first thing that comes to my mind, that's just got to be way too much pressure for like a little kid to be trying to understand that much about how unfair the world is. You know what I'm saying? At that age, that don't sound like, yeah, that don't sound like a healthy way to even approach education at that. You know what I'm saying? I just think kids they gotta be better off focusing on some other shit. Like that don't even make sense to me. Am I tripping?
No, but see, here's the thing about things like that, right? And there's environment like Baltimore, right? And
Where you from?
Baltimore,
Real quick, where you from?
I'm from Baltimore. So in Baltimore,
Say
there's
dog
two,
from me real quick.
huh?
Say dog.
Duh.
Dog.
Duh. No, because here's the thing. I caught Chef's accent.
He
I caught
definitely
Chef's
from
accent real
Baltimore.
quick.
That nigga heard you say it, and
I
then
done
he
heard you
still
talk
said
time.
that.
I never heard of Baltimore. Go ahead,
So
bro.
listen, so in Baltimore, for a young black man, there's pretty much two options, right? Jail or death. There's no other option unless you can dribble a ball or rap a lyric. Until this
That
day,
shit sound like the Bronx.
black
Devontae
man
was a boxer.
and death. Javante is a boxer. How many times that nigga got locked up in a W?
No, I didn't say Javante. I said like the Bronx. We have a lot of people describing different areas. Chef is from Baltimore.
Chef,
He picked Barber. He must be from a
Joel from. What side of town is
Joel.
Joel from?
because he
He
picked Barber.
sounds just like Joel.
Joel from the Junction, from Marlbrook Junction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he
where
must be real
he gotta
though.
be from there.
Oh yeah, he's size 35. Perkin Holmes.
Yeah,
Listen,
they from the
Oh,
junction. They looking for leadership.
no,
and guidance.
humble mystic from the project.
yeah, goddamn right.
Right, he just said it. Go ahead.
So he ain't from the part of Baltimore
And all of that
where
was
you from.
teachers taking
Hell
advantage
no.
of the fact that there were teachers taking advantage of the fact that we were young black children, and it didn't matter what they taught us, how they taught us, as long as they were getting paid. They didn't give a damn about our education. So it wasn't until a young black man like myself actually showed that I cared about my education and started putting them on notice about what they was teaching us. You see what I'm saying? And then it started to trickle like, okay, well, we just can't give him anything because we know he go home and research the stuff. Like, man, they put me under a study. It wasn't just like, oh, well, he
Gotta
had
put some
behavioral.
pressure on you, humble.
Like, oh, well,
Hold on, humble. We share. We share. But I gotta put a little bit of pressure in the statement you just made. I gotta apply this a little bit.
Go ahead.
You said that until you, as a 13-year-old child,
Yeah.
the teacher listened to you and went home. And did they change? You saying did they change their curriculum after they had this conversation with you, or did they change like this? What changed after you had the interaction with the teacher? And what class was this? What subject?
So this is not just one incident. This is a series of incidents.
Okay.
Incident though, well, by the end of these incidents, what ended up happening was the principal understood where I was coming from. Me and the principal had a one-on-one, right?
Where were your parents at 13?
My mother was a crackhead. My father, I never met that nigga a day in my life. I was raised with my sister and my nephew.
But when you say that, when you say the principal dealt with you one-on-one, I'm saying, what was your representation? Who else was in the room? The principal talking to you.
That's why I got you. At the end of the school day, I grabbed my principal by the hand. She lived in a place called Little Italy, right up the street from the projects I lived in. I took her by the hand and I walked her around my project. Ain't nowhere was no teacher. No, we was outside. I walked her around the projects. I made her understand the conditions we was in. Because you have to realize she's coming from a white part of town. Little Italy is all white people. They all Italians. She don't see no black people there unless we go into the inner harbor. So I took her to the projects to show her our conditions. We don't have mothers. We don't have fathers. We don't have running water. We gotta stay outside and play basketball at 9 o'clock.
Y'all didn't have running water?
No, some of us didn't have running water in our apartment buildings.
Shit. Well, who was your guardian? Who was you? I mean, I'm not trying to get in your business. We can talk privately. I just haven't heard of an adult in this conversation yet. So who was the adult?
The adult, that's because the adult, my sister, she was working. That's the one who raised me.
So that was an
sister,
adult. Okay. That's all. I'm not going no further than that. I just didn't hear an adult yet. But
but my was working all the time. You see what I'm saying? Me and my nephew went to the same school. People used to think me and my nephew was brothers because we came to school together. But it was the point of I, as a child, had to show this adult. I had to show this adult what we were going through being in her school system. You see what I'm saying? And that was a rare moment for this principal. Now, you said change. What changed is City Springs started directly funding the proportional children project of Perkin Home Projects, which means they started building playgrounds. They started building recreational centers, right? They started putting in certain funds to help us get the school on time. They started all types of stuff in our community to try to help us, because one thing that I think I touched that principle is when she seen how we really was on a losing end of a war, it doesn't matter how much we go to school, we still on an end of a losing of a war. She realized we have to be more direct into these children's lives because they only see us 8 hours out the day. But after that 8 hours, they come back out here on the street. Then they got a nigga hey, yo, come sell this rock for me. Hey, yo, go get that nigga up there for me. Hey, yo, go around the corner. I got a gun stashed around there. Yo, come back over here for me. You see what I'm saying? And just like Brother Corey said earlier, for the ones of us in the projects who did have parents, they worked. So it was only the people in the community, the drug boys and things of that nature, who was looking outside. So we grew up in a very hard life. So when education came into play for myself, it wasn't a lot of people like me in the projects that actually cared about education. They didn't care about that shit. Now, I cared about education because I didn't want to be a drug dealer. I cared about education because I didn't want to be out here shooting people. You see what I'm saying? So I was forced to say, hey, what if this do work? What if I do get straight A's in school? What if I do become a great student in school? Now, see, I don't know about nobody else who was, from the streets, but being a good student and being a street nigga, they don't go hand in hand. You see what I'm saying? You come outside, you getting called a geek. When you go to school, they think you're a bully. So I had to balance. You see what I'm saying? And it's like that for me started what I was teaching my nieces and nephews. Because I had to teach my nieces and nephews, hey, don't grow up and go out there like me. I'm going to give y'all information to where so y'all don't have to go outside and look for this. Oh, well, we don't have no children around us to play like us or things of that nature. Or we don't know how to do this. No, I'm about to provide all that for y'all right now. All y'all have to do is worry about listening to your parents, worrying about going to school, worrying about doing other things than what the streets are doing. You see what I'm saying?
So how did that? So what year? Don't age yourself. What year was this? What decade? 90s, 80s, 2000?
Bro, I ain't that old. 2010.
Okay, 2010. So how's your story going now?
Amazing, man. I'm married. I got 4 children. Stop lying. We are amazing.
Did you go into education, like college and all of that, or you stopped? Congratulations on your family, brother. I'm a big-time super fire. Super fire. So how did that? But did you go into like the educational field, or did you go into the workforce, or which because you have a love of education apparently. So what is the? But is this something that you share? Are you giving back to the kids in your area, stuff like that? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, he's
I think he got a phone call or something like that. Okay. Cause see, like I'm always a little hesitant because one of the things they teach you in school, and you learn this from your parents too, is emotional intelligence too, and patience. So when okay, so for all the oversmart or people that were more prepared for whatever grade, that's why you get gifted classes in high school. That's why you have AP classes, different things like that. But one of the things as a child, especially in the city, it's funny, these conversations I do in real life are leaking are now coming to online. One of the things that you always have to understand is that it is not about you, right? And in the middle of someone telling me their story, I enjoyed the story. It says a lot about Baltimore. But I can't, well, not really necessarily just Baltimore, it sound like Norris. A lot of the stuff he described goes on in probably every inner city, but I like to see parallels between cities, maybe where I go too. But one of the things you have, I don't have to do anything, but you should at least consider is when you're in a classroom, the classroom's curriculum is tailored for kids of that age in that state. Sometimes county, sometimes city, but most likely it's tailored to kids in that state, specifically recently with all the state testing explosions. And if the information is too fast for you, the information for you that may be too fast or I mean, maybe remedial to you, there's 30 something other kids. If there's an inner city school, I think Philly now has 40, damn near 40 people classrooms in some of their schools. There's at least 30 probably kids that, a classroom's like a small community. 1 or 2 already know the information or they have active parents and, picked up on it. But shit, it's probably 2025 that is just, they're learning in real time. And it's probably about 10 or 15 that they don't have, I mean, they couldn't do this if they just don't have a chance. They lost already. And then they have to resort or they have to get special help, EP, special education, whatever. So when y'all go to class, even as a 13-year-old, now what worked for Humble, I wouldn't suggest that might be something that if you got a 13-year-old coming home telling you that the teacher is not doing their job and this, that, and the other, politely tell that 13-year-old, in my opinion, stay in a child's place.
Yeah.
You're not an adult until you provide your food, clothing, and shelter. Now, what worked for Humble, he went on to live a specific life, and you could tell even at 13, he looked at his surroundings and had an idea of what that is. But as a 13-year-old, one of those things, your brain is actually beginning to change. So your outside voices and things that you're listening to, I believe that's between 12 and 13. I'll look it up. Where our outside voices start becoming damn near as important as the voices in your home. So that's how you get coaches starting to become more father figures and role models and musicians and artists and things they're seeing on TV. Other people's parents, those voices begin to, I'll get the specifics on that, but they become more open to outside voices. But a 13-year-old, in my opinion, y'all could chime in, but no 13-year-old that I know of should ever be telling a teacher what they should and should not do. And I know there are cases of malfeasance and teachers not doing necessarily the right thing, their job, and all of that. But it's almost like you do have to consider the other 20 plus students in the class. And what's not working for you, this isn't about you. You know, this is your experience. I think a better thing to learn as a 13-year-old, or at least the ones I've been around. That's a Humble story is kind of interesting. I think I want to talk to Humble. Titan, is that, I mean, I fucking keep going to tell you, A1, is that, because he came in around the same time as Obi and you. Is he somebody that is on your channel a lot?
Yeah, he's a host on my channel. He got
a host. I need to come check out some of those. Where have I heard his name before? Humble Mystic.
Talk to him. If anybody ever wants to get on my channel, you can talk to him. You don't necessarily have to talk to me, and he'll get you set up.
Yeah, we're in the Discord, Thunder and Hercules on the Discord. But yeah, I don't know. How did y'all feel about that when he said that? That kind of took. Before I kind of didn't want to respond immediately, but I don't know how I would feel about a 13. What you think, A1? A 13-year-old child directing the teacher. What do you think about that?
It
I thought at
happens,
first
but
you said, sorry.
It happens, but in the way you're explaining it, it seems more direct. It's almost like how a woman has full control over a man without having to necessarily control. It's like he's not demanding and telling her. She has empathy, and her natural empathy is what's leading this for real. That's the sense that I'm getting it. But I could see how directly on his face, like, yeah, if somebody wanted to ride his back, they could push that point all day. But I've been in situations where people looked into my life and then made the judgment on stuff like that.
What do you mean?
Hold on 1 second. Somebody just called my name. I'm sorry.
Okay. What you about to say, Diddy?
Oh no, I was saying the first time I thought you were. I guess I misunderstood it. I thought he was coming home and saying the teacher wasn't doing it. But yeah, now I will agree with you if he was telling the teacher that, because you're right. That is not a child's place. Now come home and talk to an adult and let them handle it. Because that's what I told mine when they finally decided to go to high school and they would have issues. I'm like, those are not battles for you to fight. That's for me.
Right. That's why I was trying to find the adult. In the whole
Well, he
conversation,
in his situation, it seems like it's a little unique because he didn't have the kind of parenting figures to. I mean, his sister was home, but she was working a lot, and so he had a kind of unique situation where the parenting wasn't there, and obviously he had to kind of step up for himself, which is. I don't know. I guess it's admirable.
Right. That's why I didn't.
Me at 13. Me at 13. I can tell you right now, I wasn't even thinking nowhere close to along those lines. You know what I'm saying? So I guess.
But I also had multiple parents, siblings, and all kind of stuff. Yeah, that's why I was trying to get an idea.
My whole family raised me, so I mean, so his situation is a little bit more unique than
and that's
Right. That's why before I wanted to. That's what I'm saying. His situation, his unique situation, is not something I would say children should go and do. But in his particular case, that's why I was trying to find the adult. But I mean, he acted in the place of where there was no adult. He said, I think he said his sister was helping raise him, but even in that particular, he said that she had to work. I mean, to be honest, I mean, it's not life. It's not, but there are a certain set of kids that that's their life. You know, I think it's admirable at 13 to kind of. I don't think I would have been. Matter of fact, not. I know I would to decipher the innocent of 13. I've always had two parents. I always never been in that. Even when we lived in the inner city, in the projects, we still we just operated. We just didn't operate like that. Like there's no way. I can't even imagine because I can't imagine, and I don't have the ability to put myself in the shoes of Humble. I think it is admirable. I always wondered in the 80s, I guess we could have a separate conversation. When they describe the 80s and they talk about the crack epidemic, yes, you get the kids, I guess they call them crack babies, the ones that were born hooked on crack cocaine already because their parents were doing it while they were in the womb, or the mother was doing it while she was in the womb. But what happens?
You didn't have them into the mid-90s. You know what I mean?
Right, because they
had the crack babies. Yeah.
But my question is, what about the kids where like both parents was cracked out? You know what I'm saying? Like what does a kid do? I can't imagine coming home and there's no adult supervision whatsoever. And the kid, that's crazy.
I went to school with a lot of those kids. Yeah. I mean,
I have a question. At what age should we start treating children like human beings?
Define what you mean by human beings.
Don't get me started.
Wait. Define what you mean.
We always treat kids.
Yeah, we always treat children as human
beings. We treat them as kids. They're not adults. So there's two different things going on, right? You know, yes, they're treated humanely, right?
Yeah.
You feed them, you shelter them, you love them, you educate them. That's being humane. That's treating them like a human being, right? Now,
that's day one.
Right. We don't treat kids like adults, right? So the question is, when do you start treating a child like an adult? Well, every household is different. You dig what I'm saying? That depends on.
We have a simple formula, Chef. We have a simple formula in our home. Until you can provide your own food, clothing, and shelter consistently, you will not be treated as an adult.
Okay, so let me clear it up a little bit. When I said when do we start treating children like human beings, when do we start allowing children to understand what's good for them? Right? Like children have their own minds, bro. Children have their own opinions. Children have their own likes and dislikes. I got a daughter. Sometimes she don't like to go outside. We might go outside, go have some fun. She like, no, I'm good. I'm chilling. No, go outside. Now, another parent might, you defying me, man. You go outside. I told you go outside. But why can't she just have the mindset like I just want to chill right now, right? Like that's what I mean by when I say when are we going to start treating children like human beings, right? When are we going to start?
Telling a child that they can't go outside is not against them being human.
Exactly.
It's them learning how to take direction. Hold on, real quick. We got your point. We're gonna build though. So what I would say, telling them that they can't go outside is not against their humanity. What I would, in my opinion, one of the things you have to learn is not even but the children need to learn is that in order to do the things you want to do, you have to do the things you need. And I think that's a challenge that a lot of adults, when you see adult issues, unemployment, educated, not wanting to do this, that, and third, a lot of that happens in and around the time where they don't learn emotional intelligence. They don't learn. They don't learn that, like, yeah, I know you don't want to do it, but the majority of your life, I don't ever see parents. They made a statement, land my plane. Allen Iverson's mom, one of the things that she constantly talked to him is that where he had challenges, that she did allow him to do a lot of the things when she stayed in his life. But one of the things even he said that he had a problem with when it came to the NBA was he didn't realize that 90+% of the things that you have to do in order to be in the NBA are things you don't want to do. You don't want to do this interview. You don't want to wear these clothes. You don't want to do this. This is the things that you're required to do in order to play in this league and get this check. So, in closing, a lot of times children don't understand. A child can't understand. Most adults don't understand it. That the majority of the things you have to do in order to live, get to the little bit of things that you want to do, is a lot of the stuff that you don't want to do. So you have to consistently reinforce that you got to fall in love with doing. It's the process. Fall in love with the process, not the end result. So yes, you probably could go outside, and yes, you probably yes, you probably could stay in the house. Similar to what you said, you could probably stay in the house and this, that, and the other. But I told you. And yes, I might not even have a reason for you to go outside. I don't have it, but you do need to learn how to take direction because 90+% of the planet works for someone else. So every time somebody tells you something that you don't agree with, or you don't want to do, you're going to go crazy. See that now with lack of emotional intelligence in the adults that we talk to all the time. If you say one thing, they just go flying off the handle. They can't deal with rejection. They can't deal with being told that they're wrong. They can't deal with being told that you can't have no damn candy right now. No, so no, a child, no. You treat them humane from the day that they're born, but you give them direction, and the direction isn't always. A child can't even understand what a responsible adult is directing them to do. They don't understand bills and they see you getting up in the morning and doing what you're doing. But when they want to spend half your check on V-Bucks and V-Bucks and all kind of stuff, and you tell them no, who am I supposed to pay the V-Bucks and teach them a lesson about the lights going out and stuff? No. You stay in the child's place. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm saying it makes sense, but that's just how I was raised. We were all raised differently.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. My thing, the reason I posed the question was because there are parents out here who take authority just because I'm an adult and you're a child. But that does not mean that child is not human. So that means that when you tell a child something, if you're advising a child to do something, you should explain to that child why they must do this. Don't just say, hey, you got to do this because I told you to. Man, I was in school one day, go back to my schooling. I said, I was a curious child. Hey, how come you have to wear a uniform and we don't? Just a curious question. Oh, because I'm a child, because I'm an adult and you're a child. What type of answer is that to give to a child? No, because now I'm home and I'm thinking, well, when I get older, do I get to do what I want to do? And then I get to boss children around? Like, is this the type of, is this what society is? And so I had to learn on my own that, hey, that was a dress code. So she could have came to me and said, well, you know what? We have a dress code, just like y'all have a dress code. Your dress code is called a uniform. Our dress code is called casual. I understood that perfectly. Instead of saying, but you're a child, so y'all wear uniform. I'm an adult. I wear what I want. Like, stuff like that is like that implants things into children's head, and they take that with them as they get older. So that's why I was asking, when do we start treating children as human beings? We all on this panel are adults. And I don't know about any of y'all, but I know me. I'm not going around nobody or no environment that's going to treat me less than as an adult. I'm not going to be a man that's going to talk to me any kind of way. I'm not going to be around a woman that disrespects me. None of that. So why should we force children?
And you in the conscious community?
Can I?
Yeah.
It's not about force, though.
How have you survived in the conscious community?
Can I say something real quick?
I don't know who's talking.
This old.
Okay, go ahead, old.
Yeah, man. I just want to say, man, I think the point that everybody is missing is that we can't put everybody in one big blanket because every child is an individual. You know what I'm saying? Like some kids social, some kids private, some learn best in groups. Like I did, and then some people like to be around. Some kids like to be around kids, but they just don't learn good like that. You know what I'm saying? And so the problem is that we got a structure of that. When I think we need to start taking time to find the nature of our kids or these children. Like I think that would have been better for us, a humble or something, and then finding a way to place them where we won't even have to have these problems instead of trying to just put everybody in one shell. You know what I'm saying? Like if you force every kid in the same mold, then you just gonna have problems at that, you know what I'm saying? And we need to pay attention to the individuality and the temperament, the interest of these kids, the attention that they pay to, and the way that they communicate. That's a real big one on how kids communicate, because it's actually a response to how they learning and the responsibility for the kids at that time. And I think schools problems often too ain't just the kids and they learning themselves, but who giving the lessons, how the learning is delivered. Most of us don't want to not learn. Like everybody like to learn stuff. I know that. But it's bad teaching going on. It's systems that's already up there and people being forced into ways of learning and to communicate that a structure put together. And I'm saying that I ain't saying that it ain't good. It's like a lot of people do agree on those things. We can put them in that system if that's how they do. But it's the individual of these kids, individual of ourselves. I'm go back to reparenting real quick. Like I think that's so cool, Dee, how you took your kids shopping and you see how many different subjects that you covered in there, all the way down to fractions if they doing recipes and stuff. And low key, I see what you was talking about the learning. And that shows the individuality of the different people and the different mindsets, all trying to get the same job done, though.
Same result.
So we got to find better ways to get this, you know what I'm saying, and knock it out easy. I'm going to land over in this tree real quick.
Yeah. And I appreciate that too, because we talk about, and I think that's what the brother was getting at earlier. The brother Humble was getting at earlier, kind of having more, I guess somebody might say a unorthodox way of kind of teaching students, and we need to have more options available in these kind of structured kind of curriculums and classrooms, right? I think it should be kind of more options there. But that goes into kind of funding our schools better, paying the teachers a living wage. You know, I think it's like $1.5 billion teachers spent of their own money last year. I think the average teacher spends $500 of her own or of his or her own money every year on classroom kind of projects and you know, different little activities that go on, you know, to try to help learning be more fun. You know what I mean? And bring a different approach. You know, teachers are going in their own pockets to kind of bring this to their students. So I think the problem, and it is a big problem, everything that you guys mentioned is a pertinent issue that needs to be kind of handled. And I think the way we do handle those is by kind of trying to hold our elected officials accountable and making sure that we do have the funding for our students to kind of go into more unorthodox ways of teaching and, you know, the different groups. My man mentioned he learns better in a group. I'm one of those people that like I thrive in a group. You know what I'm saying? Some kids thrive more with a one-on-one just with the teacher. You know, some kids could thrive more with groups, but you know, certain issues, certain behavior issues have to be addressed, and you know, it's all kinds of different things that we need to do. And I think the kids are valuable. I think the kids are worth kind of taking that endeavor to. I don't think we endeavor deeply with the kids as we should. I think we kind of look at a lot of the ills that's going on in the world and we kind of get bogged down in that, but the fix is in the kids. But I'll land there.
You're
I agree with you. I'm
right.
a finish.
It's hard because of the way society's set up and the way we have to manage our time. I think a lot of parents use the school system as a babysitter.
Right.
So that way we can try to manage just keeping things together. So it's hard when things are set up the way they are. Excuse me. When things are set up the way they are, I don't want to use the disenfranchisement. What's the word I'm looking for? It's the way things are structured, though. So if you don't have money to create the time, then you can't put the focus on that. Like, so it's a struggle. It's a catch-22. I wanted to go back to what something Humble said about kids being forced to be around certain things. I don't want to misphrase. Can you restate what you said so that way I'm not misquoting you or responding to the wrong statement?
Oh yeah, I was so just piggybacking off of what you were saying, A1, to rephrase what you were what you were speaking to. I was saying that when are we going to treat children as human beings, right? Just not forcing them into uncomfortable situations, but allowing them to express themselves and what's comfortable and what's not comfortable for them, instead of us, because we're an adult and we feel like we have that authority figure, tell them what they're going to be comfortable with instead of allowing them to express what they're comfortable with.
Expressing is one thing, but then it being superseding your judgment is another thing. So I mean, kids should be able to express. Should what they express be the rule and law? No. Oh, I agree with you. Kids should have a voice, and they're not given a voice a lot of times. And I think that's very important in building confidence in your children. I think I think the parenting styles that we see with a lot of people do more of a disservice and create more traumas and things that they have to grow out of as an adult. But I can't paint it as there's so many people and everybody's different. So, and we're in different times right now. Kids are being born to a lot younger people. So it seems like the kids are raising the kids. And I think that's a whole nother situation and a whole nother topic that needs to be addressed. But I won't go down that rabbit hole. I'll pass it.
Okay. And this is why I think it's so important that we find a way to getting back to family. And I'm not just talking about, mom, dad, same household children. I'm talking about the grandparents. I'm talking about aunts. I'm talking about uncles. And the one example that I can think of, I was a single parent, raising my children. And I remember my son came home and he was having a problem with this kid at school, just being a bully, blah, blah, blah. And, and I'm the parent that says, hey, don't start it, but if they put their hands on you, then you finish it type thing. So I went up there, I talked to the principal, I talked to the PT, I talked to all these people, and nobody addressed it. So one day, the boy actually put his hand on my son. My son went to work. He beat him up. So when I came home, my dad told me, hey, because my son was in high school, so that's where they arrest them and take them to the police station, all that kind of stuff. They get into a fight. And the fact that my son had told me what was going on, the fact that I'd gone up to the school constantly, I felt that he did what he needed to do, and I had done my part. Now, when I got home, he had cleaned the whole house. He's sitting on the couch. He just knows that he's in trouble. And I told him, no, you're not in trouble. He was suspended for 5 days. But what you're not going to do, even though you're not in trouble, life don't work that way. You're not going to stay at home and play video games. We're not doing that. So this is when I am so thankful I was able to call my dad, who, you know, he retired from DuPont, and he does these little, like, he'll go build a deck for somebody, or if you're handicapped, he'll put up a railing for you, you know, little projects like that. I was like, listen, son, you're not going to sit at home. Even though you're not in trouble, we're not doing that. So I was able to call my dad, tell him what was going on, and he was like, oh yeah, we'll make it work. So every day he still had to get up like he was going to school. He got in the truck with my dad. They would go work throughout the day. He would come home. My dad actually paid him and fed him, just like he would if he had an employee. And then when he came home, I would go to the school and I would get his schoolwork, and he would still have to do his schoolwork. So it takes more. I mean, I think family is a big, big, big key into getting the plight of our children turned around. We got to get other people involved. Tutor, people say, okay, well, my child, I am no good at English. I can't write a paper to save my life. I'm 50 years old and have never even done a resume. It's not my thing. I can't do it. But, you know, sometimes if, you know, oh, well, tutors are expensive, this, that, and the other. Let me tell you something. Find you a good old retired teacher. Most of the time, they've taught so long, they love it. They don't want to go back into school and deal with the politics and all that kind of stuff. That's why they're retired. But to sit one-on-one with a child doing something that they love, because to me, I think to teach for 30 years, you have to love it. Most of the time, like, they didn't even charge me. It was amazing. So sometimes we got to just think outside of the box. And I will stop there because I will ramble on this subject forever. Because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let me just say one thing. That's what I was talking about when I say it's ways that we might have to start taking precautionary measures and start creating tests, and not just creating tests, because we have the ideas of what to make it better. It's when we put it in action, right? Like, we have to put these ideas in action if we know that that's what works. And so like Corey was saying, we have to find ways to do it. We know that there's systems with nonprofit organizations where you can get funding to put these ideas out. Once you get those ideas planned and you take them and you form groups, man, in individual groups, community groups that reach around not just your community, but can be patterned and done in other communities. I go back to RFK when they was talking about, he was talking about these type of homes that people can go to. That's one of the things that my institute does. We have these things called divinity houses, or people who just released from the penitentiary, substance abuse, you know what I'm saying? Places for people to be. Yeah, and that's the type of things we have to do. I'm in the older group, but we can do that for the kids also, because I also have access to starting kids programs in the summer and doing those things. So I know the things that we do, and we know the things that we can do. We just have to put our feet in that soil or plow and make it happen. And, you know what I'm saying? We know the problem. We know the solutions. We got to get them solutions jumping. I land over here.
And
right,
just another.
Go ahead, Didi.
Oh, no, I was going to say another thing I wanted to teach on, and Humble, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think maybe this is what you're kind of trying to hint at. So we talk about children going to school. You know, they go there from 8 to 3 or 8 to 4 or however they go. But here's the thing. One thing that they're not teaching in school is life skills. So one thing that I had to do with mine is, okay, when you got 14 years old and you started high school, you wasn't homeschooled anymore, you got a house key. You're welcome to come and go as you please, but you better not mess up. I never told my children a bedtime, and I never told them when to wake up. But they knew that if they missed school, there was going to be a consequence. When they became 16, oh, they want a car, right? Okay, you can have a car, but this is how it's going to work. It's going to be a good, reliable, used car, and you're going to do what I tell you. You're going to drive it to school, and when you get your job, you're going to drive it to work. Anything else, you can't do it unless it's approved by me. Now, once you work your job, and I would settle on a decent amount, like let's say, like I think my daughter's car was like $4,000. Okay, when you hand me $1,000, the car is yours. Make them work for it. My son wanted a $200 pair of shoes. Okay, so this is how we're going to do it. I am willing to pay $60 for a pair of shoes. That other $140, you're going to have to go call grandma and cut grass. You're going to have to call grandpa and do some work. You're going to have to come up with the rest of that. I got 60 on it, you know. And then once they got, like, it just depends, because like you say, each child is different. My son got a job at 16. My daughter didn't get one until 17. But once they got a job, now you have to pay rent, $100 a month. Now, here's the thing. They didn't know this. I never spent that money. That money went into a separate account, and when they went out on their own, that money was given to them. But they needed to feel what it's like, that just because you get a paycheck, you don't get to go blow it. You have responsibilities. And people sat there and called me all kinds of horrible mom and this, that, and the other for doing that. But right now, okay, and also, I'm sorry, at 16, I got them debit cards. I co-signed for their debit card, and I took my name off of it when they turned 18. They need to learn how to do these things. And I wanted them to learn it while they were under the safety of my home or their home. Because I remember I learned nothing. I was given everything. And when I went out into the world, that world kicked my ass. I wasn't ready for it. And I did not want them to go through that. Right now, they're both good kids. My daughter, she's been on her job. She's been on this one for, I think, like 3 years. Before that, she had her job for 4 years. My son, you know, he's a chef down at the beach, and now he just started going to night school because he wants to go into cybersecurity. You know, they're responsible. They're taking care of themselves. They don't ask me for anything. Now, my daughter, her cell phone is still on my day. I'm like, look, when are you going to get your cell phone and start paying your own cell phone? But other than that, they are taking care of themselves. And you can't, I always say I wasn't raising my children to be children. I was raising them to become adults. And I think that you have to, and it depends on the child. My daughter matured a little bit faster than my son in some things. And in other things, it was the other way around. But you have to find a way to teach them what the real world is. And I think that it's best doing it. Like I said, everybody, I was the worst mom in the world. How are you charging your kid? They're in school. How are you charging them rent? It was what it was.
Yeah,
and I never
the
said
chat is saying
anything
you're
until I got
killing
older.
it too. The chat saying you're killing it. I tell my son all the time, that water, that cold water, it don't get warmer the longer you wait. You'll learn as an adult. That cold water, when you standing in front of that pool, we used to do, I did that, I was an idiot, and I did that when we went to Alaska. I did that Arctic plunge, you know, where everybody jump in. I think out here is some kind of polar bear thing or whatever. And
the polar plunge in
right.
at Lake Michigan. We do that
Right.
out here.
Right. And I did it in Alaska. I've seen it out here, but I did it when it was out there. And the thing that one of those guys even said, and I took it back and I used it for my youth group, was that the cold water doesn't get warmer. Wait. Like, it's not warming up waiting on you, you know. So I guess I would say that to a child, but then also what I would add, if you're talking, now that's for an adult. So if you're waiting to get into something, waiting to do something, it's not going to get warmer while you wait, right? That water's still going to be the same temperature, if not colder, depending on how late in the day you do this. But to a child, I'll say, but if you jump your ass in there and you don't know how to swim, you're going to drown, whether it's cold, warm, or otherwise. So before I send my child out into this world, because I think you are responsible. You know, I'm still my mother's and father's child right now. You know, I will never be, I'll be an adult now. I'll be successful in it. They're still going to give me wisdom. They're still going to look at some questions and at least at some point still try to advise and guide. I don't know if y'all still do that, but there's never really going to be a time you start taking direction because you're all at different ages of life. Even if you're a little older, once you get kids that are in high school, you know, you're raising your son. A lot of kids don't even understand that. And we don't ask them to understand that. But for all those kids that or adults now that are complaining about your parents and this, that, and the other, understand that they was growing up too. As they're raising you. Remember, our entire life is an evolution. So as they're trying to direct you and trying to help you and trying to advise you on what to do and what not to do, we're all still growing. You never stop really growing, ever.
Right.
Once you start growing, I mean, you're dead. So don't expect parents. I'm not gonna put this on our parents, not like we was just, even me, I'm still learning. I'm still learning myself. I'm still even learning who I am. I'm trying to share this with you. But there is a level of grace you would have to extend. In dealing with kids, a lot of kids, they'll come to me about their parents. And I don't break that bond unless it's something, somewhat serious, because a child needs people to talk to too. But in the same token, you got to give your adult is a word. Just because you can provide your own, parents told me, as soon as you provide your food, clothing, and shelter, you are an adult. And when I got older, I said that to my kids, but I realized that probably ain't working in 2026. 80% of kids live at home with their parents now. The economy now is not the same as it was in the 90s, in the early 2000s and 2010s. Right. It's not the same. A degree don't mean the same thing today that it meant in the 90s and the 80s, 2000. It don't mean this. So to try to parent your kids today the same, you setting them up, you're preparing them to live in a world that don't exist. Go to college, go get your degree.
And to add on,
go ahead, Corey.
No, to add on to what you were saying, I tell my my younger kids, like, y'all got a different daddy than my other two, than Corey and Kariah. My two oldest kids, Corey and Kariah, right? They don't have the same dad as my two youngest kids, right? Because I'm a different person. I'm not the same person as I was when I was raising them. You know what I'm saying? As I am raising my two. I got a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old, and I got a 4-year-old and an 11-year-old. Raising my 4-year-old and 11-year-old, I'm a totally different person. You know what I'm saying? So that goes to what you were saying about, we're growing up. As we're raising our kids, we still growing up. And also to add to what the sister said, I always tell, y'all always hear me talk about my family and how I was raised. And she said, that we need to get back to, the family, you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what I attribute, like, my success, me maintaining my marriage and all of that, and being successful in my trade and my career. I attribute that to being, my whole family raised me. My aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, my mom, my dad, my older cousins, my football coach, you know what I'm saying? Old man Grady from down the street. From the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these people, every day I remember something that all of those people said to me. You know what I'm saying? All of those people went into raising me to who I am and to a responsible adult. And I think that we don't, a lot of times we don't have that anymore. I remember Brass, we were talking about one day how, you go months without talking to your sister or your cousin that you slept in the same bed with, all your life. And, you know what I mean? Like, the way the world is today, we don't have that full family anymore. We just have our immediate family. We deal with just our kids and maybe our mom and dad. We don't deal with auntie and uncle and them. We don't go to the grandparents' house. We don't have those barbecues in the backyard with all of the family, not just, your kids and your mom and dad and shit like that, your immediate family. We kind of grown away from that. And I think that goes to how we raise our kids, and it goes to
the mental condition of our kids. So yeah, I just wanted to add that to it, and I appreciate y'all saying that.
Yeah, I think that's important. Because a story. Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Oh yeah, so I think when y'all was talking a little bit before this, talking about the things that we don't have, and a lot of times we do have those things in our communities, we just don't access them. You dig what I'm saying? You know, when you say, yo, the kids need this, or you need tutors, or you need after school programs, well, those local churches can provide all of those things, but the community don't access them. Those people be waiting for y'all to come in there with ideas. You dig what I'm saying? And they can't do nothing without the community. You feel me? When they get out there and try, people walk by the church women like they fucking crazy. You feel me? Look at them like they, you know what I mean? And they be trying. So it's up to y'all, you know, if you see a need in the community where the local school need auxiliary help, wise, like tutoring and stuff, after school programs, you have churches, you have mosques, you have all of these different community organizations that will help without a quick drop of a dime. They're gonna help you. You feel me? Anything you bring to them, they're going to help you. So we have a lot of times in the Black community, we got the things that can help us, even if when it comes to drug addiction. Most churches help out with those things. You dig what I'm saying? Like anything that you can think of, these churches and mosques and stuff already is sitting there waiting for you to come get the fucking help. You dig what I'm saying? So that's my part. But great conversation.
Yeah.
It's funny, Chef. When you said they don't care how they even talk to church ladies, I start thinking about Day pulling up on them old women. Like, you hoes can't be out here loitering.
Yo, and that's why I was saying, like, it's gonna take other people to start new ways. If them old ones ain't working, they there. But evidently people got bias against those type of things, because even today it's younger people understanding a different situations within life. And going to church and stuff to get study school, and then having Christianity pushed on you at the same time is a hard deal. Or going to the mosque and trying to learn math when this man trying to tell me about Allah. So we need new mechanisms put in there. I agree with what you're saying. It is mechanisms out there. Then that's what I say, we need to pattern after them and not do what they're doing, because we know those are already in a structure that's
but
going
when
to.
has that been a bad thing though? Like if they teaching you and they, you know, offer you some, you know, a little bit of Jesus or a little bit of Allah, that's harmful to us now?
That's subjective, and I don't think that's a fair question to pose, as if that's not like.
When has that ever been?
Everybody doesn't agree with that.
It's always been a problem. They over there fighting right now because of those ideologies right now.
Thank you. And that's the bait and switch. Come get this plate. We got some free
I'm not
food
saying that
for
it
you,
ain't.
but we're gonna
I
push your
understand what you're saying,
ideology.
Chef. I agree with you, but I'm saying we need more of those mechanisms out here, because those mechanisms ain't doing the job. The people that's supposed to be a reason that people is coming is the exact reason that these people is running away from it. So we need mechanisms that's unbiased.
I'll push back against Chef real quick, because I don't feel like to get help I have to make myself susceptible to other people's brainwashing. That is not fair, and those are the conditions that we're under to get the help. And like that's not fair. I'll land there, I guess.
Well, to call that brainwashing, I think that would be. I think that's a little bit that's a little hyperbolic. To think that, you know, those grandmothers in them in church that's willing to help out is somehow trying to brainwash you and get you into a war in the Middle East or something. Like, that's not even the same. You dig what I'm saying? Like they're not even requiring you to have to undergo the whole religion, but they is gonna mention it. You dig what I'm saying? That will be something, because they feel as though that shit can help you. You dig what I'm saying? But they ain't trying to like brainwash you. Like,
Yeah,
well,
no, man.
Let me respond to the hyperbolic. I like the word, and it can be a bit extreme, but we have seen instances where somebody goes in for some help and ends up becoming an extremist. So I don't think hyperbolic necessarily is the word, but and then I wanted to say something else, but I forgot. I wanted to give you credit on something, and I can't remember what it was.
Don't do it. Just it's good that you forgot. Go ahead. He don't need no more credit. He can't even fit the hat he wear now. Singing and shit, motherfucker doing Luther Vandross, picking up Nas, Second Chef. I guess I tuned in late.
That's what it was.
When was y'all going to tell me this?
It's naive to not think it's brainwashing. Lord. If I don't believe in it and they're pushing it on me, if I'm Islam and I go to a church and they're pushing Jesus on me, they're going to consider that brainwashing or them trying to push their ideology. We need to be able to get help absent of stuff like that. It's almost, I feel like they're extorting you to listen to them. Like, kind of, that's not the right word, but I just don't like the
He
dynamic
said extorting you to listen to you.
It's not extortion though, because it's not forced. But I just don't like the dynamic of the relationship where help has to come with advice with an ideology that I may not subscribe to or believe in or agree with. So it's like, well,
yeah,
either
at my church,
and you can't push back or you deny the help, kind of. So it's like a catch-22. And that's how they get people to come under these umbrellas. They catch people at their worst time, and then that's where people become Christians. These people helped me. They saved my life. Jesus did it, though. He pulled me out of homelessness.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably not
you don't take the responsibility into your own hands a lot of the times with that. And I think so some churches understand that. So like my pastor, I'm an atheist, but I still my wife still frequents the church and I'm still a member. I got a good relationship with the pastor and shit like that.
I like how you worded that. I'm an atheist. My wife still goes. What did you just say? I'm an atheist.
But my wife still frequents.
Your wife still frequents. That's the word. My wife still frequents the church.
What I wanted to say about that is my pastor, he actually understands what the brother was saying. So we we feed the homeless or the hungry on Mondays, every Monday, right? You can go and get lunch, and then at nighttime, they'll make a dinner for you too. But what my pastor says is we don't make you pray before we get you a sandwich. Like, you can just come in and get the sandwich, because the thing is, he wants people to come and actually get the sandwich. They don't want people not to come get the sandwich because, I gotta sit and listen to Jesus or a bunch of Jesus talk in order to get this sandwich. You know what I'm saying? So my pastor always pushes on us to let people know, like, yo, no, you don't have to sit through a sermon before we give you that sandwich. Now, we do offer a sermon afterwards, right? But you can just come and get that sandwich, have a warm place to sit down, eat your sandwich, have your coffee or whatever it is they offering, and then you can go. You know what I'm saying? But the option is there if you want to stay and get a lesson or whatever it is that they offering that day. You can stay for that. You know what I'm saying? So I said that to say we do understand what you're saying, Sheffrin, and I agree with you. But on the other hand, what the brother is saying, I understand him, because we do have to have more secular ways. We don't have a lot of, it's usually the people who usually are willing to do that help and shit like that is the church, is the mosque and shit like that, right? But I think we do need to have more secular options out there for people that don't want, kind of frowned upon that kind of religious thought. But go ahead, y'all.
So it would say you want the help from the church, but you don't want it the way the church is going to give it to you. Like it's almost is you don't want the church to be the church. You dig what I'm saying? Like that comes along with it, but the fact that they're in our community and they're willing to help, you dig what and always been willing to help. I don't think it's good for us to try to demonize them for being the church when they are in our communities and willing to help. You know what I mean? I like it goes along with it. Like, and I think everybody understands that. You know what I mean? So
it's not about
yeah,
necessarily demonizing the church for being a church. It's about certain things that they do go against. You may not believe it, but a lot of people think that the church is immoral and that their practices are immoral and their teachings. So and it's not like they're trying to demonize them for helping. It's just to accept help from a person who you deem is immoral. I don't know. It's a weird.
But that would be a small
they can keep trying to help. They can keep trying to help. Well, what I'm saying is, it seems that we need a different type of help because those people, and if I'm over here at the mosque getting help with meth and they don't know what they're doing, they ain't just to tell me to go to the church, and the vice versa with the church. It's a bias on there that you're gonna have to go through. Either way it go, and they gonna always try to push theirs, and they got the same system going. And I didn't come here for that. You got Sunday school and mosque services to teach people that. I came here for my learning, and so if they not doing what I want them to do because they're offering stuff that I didn't ask for, the only logical thing for us to do is provide more of those mechanisms with less of those biases. It's just.
We also have to understand too that what the churches are doing is not just of their own will, right? A lot of that stuff is tax. Like a lot, they get benefits off of doing what they're doing. Feeding the homeless, giving after school, they get benefits from doing that. They get money and grants and stuff for doing that. So don't think no church or no pastor out here just spending his own willy-nilly money and just giving the community food as if they not getting benefits.
Yes, they are. They doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Simple and plain.
That's like saying that. Can I give an example? The government.
Yeah, this about to get turned up.
The government gives out help as well. And there are a lot of people who refuse to go to the government to accept their help, be it signing up for 501(c)(3)s, etc., just because of the dynamic of the relationship and how it started it and who they know them to be. So everybody with a handout and some food in it isn't a blessing. You got to be careful which cup you drink it from. And the government example is perfect because they've stolen all of this and then are offering help. I feel like it's a way to quell the energy and to keep divine karma on their side, because after stealing everything and slaving everybody through corporate slavery, they offer programs to help fight against them. But it's just a way to dispel your energy, because the real fight would be a revolution and just taking it all down. They'd rather have you sign up for these little 501(c)(3)s to stop them from stealing so many cakes this year. No, but at the end of the day, they still have stolen. You know what I'm saying? It's not stopping anything. And I don't know.
Whether the church. No, I mean, I completely understand what y'all saying. I'm just saying this. There's a bigger picture and there's a bigger thing at hand that might need to be considered. You started the conversation off about a child needing help. So I know for me, I would do any and everything within my power to help my child. I am a person that goes to church every Sunday. I'm a member of the board, intimate with the financial details of the church, intimate with how the church runs, all of that. Selecting new pastors, selecting events, all of that stuff. And one of the things that I think one of the brothers said that they get tax advantages, and while all of that is true, they still don't have to do that. None of that stuff is ever requirement. You have to show specific statuses, but none of it says that you have to feed the homeless, you have to have scholarship programs, you have to do that. So when Chef is saying do it out of kindness, the reason why these specific programs are is because what a Black church should be doing is be a pillar of its community, specifically to the Black people, but to the community at large. So when you have a church that offers it, I echo y'all sentiments. It shouldn't have to come with a sermon, or if you consider it indoctrination or anything like that. But if the goal is to actually help the child, I would say this: if you're afraid of the church, only thing I would, it's just my thought, is that if you're not going to go to the church because you don't want them to be indoctrinated or anything like that, okay, cool, it's your child, your choice. But I would say, but do something. When I talk to parents, the one thing I make sure of is, at a bare minimum, I'm not asking you to be perfect, but I'm asking you to be active. And an active parent, in a lot of the mistakes you make with a child, when that child looks back as an adult, when they do have some understanding, and they have children, at a bare minimum, they'll say that my mother wasn't perfect, my father wasn't perfect, but they were active. You know, they were aware. And I ain't talking about active like going to the games. I'm talking about actively knowing your teachers' names and responding to those emails, active with what they got going on. So if you're active, and everybody has periods as adults, you go through whatever. So I'm not here to vilify you. I'm not perfect. But my points would be is that if you're not going to take them to church, Kev's point still remains, because I work in what I do, I deal with the clerk's office a lot. If you go down to your local clerk's office, if you got a YMCA, if you got a local borough president, there's nothing but programs, and they all say the same thing. And I'm speaking specifically about New Jersey. The money is there, the programs is there, but no one shows up, or no one asks for the money, or they say that they're not aware. But I mean, if you're active, you'll figure it out. You can find scholarships. How much scholarship money every year just goes unused? So, in the same token, whether y'all want to use the church or don't use the church in closing, when you use the church, don't use the church, however you feel about Jesus Christ, I have a decent idea how you feel about your child. So, if you don't go to the church, at a bare minimum, use the other programs, because the other programs sound like there's some kind of excuse there too, to not use these tools to empower your child.
Right, and see, the way that I look at it, I think of, when it comes to children, I think sometimes, I don't think it's intentional, but I think we kind of overprotective of our children sometimes, because if you think about it, there's a lesson in everything, and I'll give you a perfect example. How I don't celebrate Christmas, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I don't celebrate Easter, I don't do none of that shit, right? But everywhere I go is Happy Easter, Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving. It's something that, even though I don't believe in it, I'm exposed to it. And again, children going to these programs, whether it's whatever, it's just a lesson in, sometimes, let's just be honest, they're going to be exposed to things that they don't necessarily believe in. My children during the summer, I kid you not, they would go to those, what they call vacation Bible schools. They'll be at the damn Baptist church one week. The next week, they're doing Awana. The next week, they're at the Seventh-day Adventist. They went to all of them saying, hey, let's go. It's free. Have fun. Get some activities. Yay.
Exactly.
But both of my kids right now, they're fucking atheists.
Mm-hmm.
They were exposed to everything. They went to the Methodist church. They went to the AME. They went to all these different, I'm serious, like 5 or 6 different damn churches every summer. And I don't think, and you go there and they say do this, do that, whatever. That doesn't mean that they have to believe in it. You're going to get exposed in the real world of shit that you don't believe in. Learn to deal with it. Let it go.
Mm-hmm.
In one ear, out the other. Get the help. Go have the fun. Get the help. Whatever. Doesn't mean you have to become a damn Muslim. Doesn't mean you have to become a Baptist. Doesn't mean you have to become a Methodist. None of that shit. But I mean, if they're there to help you, let them help.
Exactly. And especially in communities that need that extra help. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, y'all did on. Great conversation though.
I think at some point I'm gonna do a show where I just want to identify all this damage that the black church did to black people. It's crazy. I think because this sounds like a self-help group. So I think I need to figure out, rather than, because I don't understand it, right? So
I like this. I like what you're saying.
I think I want to have the conversation. I think that'll be my next show. I need to
Nigga
know.
definitely is allergic to the church for no damn reason.
But no, because I'm hearing a whole lot of like the church is a terrorist group. So now I'm gonna go into that will be
Are the church not a terrorist group? Did our people come up with something called the church? Did our people come up with something called the Jesus?
Save that for the show. I want you can be humble. I want you or Oli. I forgot. I don't know. But I want you. You'll be on the panel with me. I don't want to be in the show. That's just a separate conversation. I don't want to be. Yeah, that'll be because I hear a lot of animosity when the church gets brought up in these conversations, and I don't know how much of it is original, how much of it is this. The conscious community has a bit of an atheist kind of narrative in it. So I kind of want to. I think I'm gonna maybe I'll make that a conversation because if I go to church, I'm not gonna be offended. I'm willing to have open dialogue, but the feeling is very visceral and it's there. So I think I want to dive a little bit deeper into this. Because if you're not willing to take, I've never heard this level of vitriol to where they're offering something for your children.
I'm an atheist, and I'm an atheist, and I understand Black organization, and how Black people, the different mechanisms that we have to try to help our own people. So I understand the church in that vein. So I'm not demonized, and I'm a goddamn atheist. You dig what I'm saying? But I know when Black people is trying to help. Yeah, I know when we trying to help. I ain't looking at my grandmother and them like they out here trying to fuck us over. Like,
but
to
both of you gentlemen's point, to both
no,
of
he
you,
says he's a goddamn atheist.
Then I want to say something.
Chef and Brass's point.
Somebody must be winning
Nino Brown
the
was
argument
also
because
giving
Chef
away turkeys.
bought Granny.
Hold on.
He bought Granny to the argument.
Nino Brown was also giving away turkeys, but I wouldn't have been in line to accept anything from him. So
you just compared Nino to.
You just compared the Carter
and you can focus on that aspect, or you can try to understand what I mean when I say.
No, that's why I said it. I'm trying to figure out the connection that you're making of Nino Brown to
when you don't align with the ideology. My point is, when I don't align with the ideologies and principles of the people offering the help, I have to question whether I'm going to accept it, and a decision has to be made. I don't just stand in that line.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't drink from every cup that somebody pours me, and that's just
okay. That makes sense. I just didn't get the connection when you were saying this.
Okay, and you might not need as much help as another person, though.
Well, I just want to say that.
You ever think about that?
I just want to say that.
And you're right. When you're there, you got to do what you
right after Titan.
And I'm not thinking about that because I'm not there right now. So you're
exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm just
think about
like I said, man. It's the mechanisms that's in place, like y'all said. These people get funding to do a certain thing. Some people don't like that. Like you said, you ain't never seen this level of I don't know. I guess I'll say disdain. You didn't say vitriol. That's what you said. You ain't never seen this level, but it isn't a level that's trying to stop them from doing that. What I'm talking about is us taking accountability when that system ain't working. They got mechanisms in the place that we can do the same thing where we won't have to talk about them, because I'm not saying that the church ain't accountable, but when you get deep into it, that's what it does for you. Because in the end, you're gonna be seeing that the bad stuff that you're doing in your life is because of the devil, and the good stuff is happening because of God. And you ain't gonna never be able to take accountability in nothing that you're doing. So people that see these mechanisms, they got grants. I be applying for grants all the time over here in Oklahoma, the OTAG grants and stuff that you apply for to get money to do the same thing that them people is doing, because they not doing it like that. What's wrong with that? I'm not saying the church ain't doing nothing good. All I'm saying is it's people who should take accountability. I think we all should take accountability and stop trying to put it on the church head so they can try to teach us about Jesus and stuff and find a better way instead of trying to teach math and stuff. That's us. That's what I was talking about. It starts at home.
Yeah, I don't got no argument with that either. But I think you can go to church and do what you just said too. That's the only difference probably where we at. I have a different relationship with church. I mean, a one about certain parts of Ohio, Sunday you think it's a zombie time. That's where I grew up. You know, everybody's in church. Businesses don't even open up till after 1 o'clock on Sundays.
Right.
So trust and believe is this is something that from a child. I just want to. I'm not telling anybody what to think. If you're atheist or if you're this, that, and the other, that's fine. I deal with people a lot. I just only in this particular community, the conscious community, do I hear the level of vitriol that I hear about the Black church. I know atheists, but I don't hear this level of anger or disdain. I just don't hear it. So when I try to sort something out, I try to remove myself. I got a new goal for Discord. I want to at least have all 50 states represented. So I'm going to start marking it off where we have people in the states, because it has to be different per other areas, because we're mainly, for some reason in our Discord, it's the major cities that was from Miami, New York, California, stuff like that. I want some small town people to be involved in the conversations and see what's going on from other areas. Because when we have these conversations, people from California don't have the same concerns as somebody from, and they might look at things a little different. They look at politics a little different. What means something to them don't necessarily mean, even in this conversation. I'm like somebody from the Bible. I'm from Ohio, but I mean, spent the majority of my life in New Jersey. So now I'd like to see what people think. With a statement like that y'all making about the church, with somebody from the Bible, something like that. So
yeah, definitely. I'm from the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
You just said Oklahoma. That's impressive.
Yep.
You're the only person I've ever met from Oklahoma.
Oh, nice to meet
you. Yeah, well, I met y'all. I met some people from Oklahoma when I went to state, beat the shit out the Sooners that year, but I don't remember. I was a shot. But I never I don't know anybody. But what you about to say? Somebody's about to talk.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So my only thing is, there's a lot of people in our community, in the Black community, as we like to call it, who like to ignore all the negative things that this Jesus, this God, have brought down. And that's my issue with the thing. You feel me? I don't care who believe in what or who say what, but let's not be naive and not understand how history went. Let's not be naive and act like white people didn't bring us this for our demise. White people didn't brainwash us with this so they can control us mentally. We had something called the slave Bible, where they was telling our Black people to worship the white man, because if he didn't, he was going to hell. And so then we can't then, on the other hand, act like as if there's no people out there like myself who say, yo, this is an attack on my people. And just like Brother A1 said earlier, I can't stand with anything that's standing for taking down the mind, the spirit, the body of my people, of people who look like me, people who've been through things like me, people who are actually looking for a way to, A1 got to open a song called, it's we got to win this race called life. There's people out here trying to win a race called life. But then there's organizations out here who are trying to enslave those very people who's trying to win this game called life. And they know the key, but they're not about to give it to nobody unless you prove yourself, right? And so it's these type of games when it comes to the religious factor that I have to distance myself from, because it's like, this is for our downfall. And we see who it benefit. It don't benefit us. It benefit them.
What benefits them? Or who?
When you
say it don't, what's, well, first when you say it, what is it? Like put some specificity.
The institutionalized organization that religion runs benefit European people. It don't benefit African American people.
The black church doesn't benefit African American people.
No, not at all.
They will definitely debate you on that, boy.
I want to do that. Are you free tomorrow?
I'm free whenever you need me, brother.
Yeah, hey Titan, let's do this. You said we wanted to do some business. By the way, real quick, I'm not one to.
What's up with y'all?
You got to get used to that with Shaq. He's in the barbershop. No, stay right there. We just need to. Let's do this show together. Let's do this show together because I'm loving Humble and Oli's contribution, and I know it's their contribution, but I know that they joined this mainly probably on the strength of because you're a solid brother too. I want to do some content in and around the subject. Let's get together this evening and discuss how we can do it, because one of the things me and Chef was going to have a conversation about was there's been disrespect live at the black barbershop. I'm kind of making a joke of the black barbershop, and we was going to do some content in and around how important the black barbershop actually is, but maybe somebody that's not American wouldn't understand it. You know what I mean? So maybe so it's kind of like kind of pun intended per se. Let's have this conversation on church tomorrow. I'll do a flyer this evening, and then have it as a conversation. See if we can link the two channels and connect some of the viewers and get better points. Because I like the one thing Oli and Humble you'll hear from me is I will not just blanketly agree, but I will at least attempt to understand someone, because a lot of times, like even that conversation you had earlier, Humble, when you grew up, I don't understand it because I didn't grow up with it. But I think that's something that I need to look at to get outside myself. To me, that's the most important thing about the internet. The internet is like you're gonna run into people that did not live the life that you lived, but that don't mean that their life was somehow terrible, that their life was somehow bad. It just means that you need to kind of open yourself up and stop being so goddamn bad and thinking that you know it all. I don't think, shouts to you, Humble. I know for a fact, based on the child I was, I could not have made it to where I am today without no parental supervision whatsoever. So the fact that you made it this far and have a lovely family and had those challenges with supervision, right? I think that's fucking amazing. But I could have just vilified you and said, you just a 13-year-old kid, stay in your place. I understand why you specifically had to make those decisions. So I commend you, brother. So yeah, I'll set that up today.
I appreciate you. And no, this ain't. I do want to really fast if I can. Hey man, shout out to the Titans. Hey, that's my big brother, A1 right there. But we love these conversations. This ain't nothing personal, A1 to tell y'all. We love bringing out information, just telling out sides of the story. You know what I'm saying? We're passionate. I know me. A lot of people tell y'all, listen, he is aggressively humble. A lot of ways I speak, I just speak passionately. That's all that is.
And
you're in a good place, y'all. I think you're on a good panel. Yeah, then you're in a good panel for that. Yeah. What'd you say, A1?
Quit putting me above you. I ain't big bro, man. You my twin.
Twins, get it.
Yeah, man.
So Titans, that's your name. That how we should refer to you as A1. That's I just kind of picked that up.
Yeah, whatever's cool. I know. Who
yeah,
you're talking to.
Absolutely. That's cool.
It's all the same.
I want to say low key, you right. The reason I do know about this is because of Titans Debate League. That's where I be stationed. I'm glad we're gonna get to work together though, because I see a lot of similarities in you and A1 just being a panel person that joined panel. You know what I'm saying? Unbiased. Now you have actual perspective that you let me know that you attend church, you're a Christian and things, but I still see how unbiased you are. Like you were saying, you try to find ways to see people's view. That's what I do too. When the more that we interact, you'll see I have a philosophical outlook on things, and we'll get deeper in that. But I believe that that's how you always have to come about things if you're trying to find answers. It ain't like you just coming on here for entertainment. You actually want answers. You want to see how people live, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad to be a part of that. And shout out to the Titans Debate League. You know what I'm saying? We up in here. My perspective, like I said, is my perspective. This is my perspective. It ain't, I don't push it on nobody. Humble has a different one. And that's just what it is over there. It's a lot of people with different views, but it ain't like any of us try. If we disagree, we disagree on to the next point. And that's what it is.
Can I ask either you or A1, either one, or maybe y'all got different answers, but can I ask, how did y'all, and y'all probably already said this, I just wasn't on the panel, how did y'all get up with us? How did y'all kind of find yourself over here?
First, Ogie.
The way I found myself over here is I was watching live. I be watching different lives about the topic because I'm new to the YouTube debate scene. When I came from over here, I came from over here from TikTok, and it was totally different. The Titans Debate League introduced me to a better style of debating, having different formats in the Lincoln Douglas format and stuff. And so I was doing that, and he gave me a place to give some information. I started giving my information, and people started looking that I didn't know and started having questions and stuff. I started looking at other channels and stuff, and I told A1 about it, and he like, well, it's a whole bunch of different channels and stuff. And then the Carnivorous was one of them, and that's how I got on here. I want to say me and A1 kind of came together. He told me it was one to look at, and we flew over there.
Oh, appreciate that. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Once I realized I wasn't blackballed from over here, I told the whole crew, come on over. So, I think I met you on a Man Cave Monday podcast, and yeah, they really.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, Psycho.
Shout out to Psycho. Shout out to Psycho.
Yeah, they kind of pushed me out of that circle. I was brand spanking new with like 100 subscribers. We were talking about marketing or something, and I was giving advice. Not advice, just talking about what I know. And then somehow I followed you over here. And then I was watching you guys' Discord. I hopped on a couple times. I never said anything. Like I didn't know what the sentiment was about me over here. So I just kind of tried to stay at a distance. But I enjoyed the conversation, and you guys had I liked your book section over there. I was in the book section. But yeah, I'm happy that I'm over here, man. You unbiased for a Christian, which, you're not pushing your ideology. You listen to try to understand. You let people land their plane, which shows that you're trying to genuinely get it, and you're not up here to prove people wrong every day and have Christianity reign.
He over here with a bunch of heathens every day.
Yeah. Well, I say it all the time. I tell them all the time. I say, Sunday, I gotta read. Sunday is the day that prepares me to deal with y'all for the other 6. Because y'all are absolutely insane. And sometimes I gotta reset just to deal. But yeah, now one of the things you'll get with me is working with kids will humble you. Coming from a large family, I don't know how many sisters y'all humble you. Being the youngest of a person and sisters, it will definitely put you in a place where like you're not the best at doing what you're doing. You're not the brightest. You might have a couple of wins. They got a couple of wins, this and another. But working with children will actually prepare you to work with adults. Because when you're working with children, you get a good idea of when you're working around adults or working with adults and you're seeing some of the things, you can see like, oh yeah, that's some unresolved stuff. Jay-Z, my favorite artist, right? I listen to his music, but I listen to some of the things he says. One of the things he said in his book was he never understood when he was younger in the fights and stuff why in his head, because his mother was an educator, he would get into fights, and the fights would start off like, what you looking at? Like, why are you looking at me? What you looking at? That kind of thing. And his mother, he didn't really, she was just telling him, just be, the normal mother stuff. But then he got older and he realized that talking to like therapists or talking to other adults, a lot of people are angry with you because they think you see them. Not the thing that they're like portrayed out to the world, not the thing that they're trying to show you. They think if you're looking at them too long, you're gonna actually see them. If you listen to them too long, you're gonna actually see them. So they're actually like kind of, I don't know if the word is subconsciously, but what they're fighting is they actually hurting, and they hiding a lot of stuff. They hiding a lot of personal stuff they got going on, or they don't want you to see them as the worst thing they ever did. They want you to just see them as this thing that they project into you. And when you don't see that, but you actually see the other thing, their response is, why are you looking at me? What you looking at me like that? Not why you, and then it goes, why you looking at me? So a lot of times I like to just sit back and listen, sit back and watch, observe. And then before I put my personal judgment onto somebody else, at a bare minimum, I like to at least see if I could even walk in their shoes. I got to go back to humble. I could knock him all day long for what he stated about a 13-year-old telling a student that we could have been in here screaming and yelling and you were wrong and all of a sudden the other. Or I could have said, based on that certain set of circumstances, that's why the only question I ever really had for him is, how did this end up? Because if it ended, he said he's happily married, he has multiple children, and he's doing well, shit. I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know what it's like to not come home and have two parents in the house. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what it's like to not go to church on Sunday. So to put my convictions, my beliefs, and my life onto yours, that's just incorrect. And we all fall. Right? Sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. Emotions get high, reasons get low. Reasoning is low. These are the kinds of conversations I enjoy, where we can kind of get to know each other a little better, and you'll see what's going on. So I'm glad y'all over here. I watched some of y'all.
I have to get out of here, gentlemen. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, shouts to you.
To share my opinion. Oh yeah, I'll be over here doing it more because I don't do it on my channel. So I'll be with y'all later.
Maybe I'll start doing that on your channel. On your channel. You can share yours over here.
I want to tell you. I want to say low key. Peace out. Low key, I want to tell you. Shout out to Hov being your favorite, because that's my favorite. I was gonna quote him on his song. Thank you, when he said, "I felt so inspired by what my teacher said," when we was talking about teachers and students a while ago. But Hov do that. Even on that song, that was in his book, but that was also in one of the videos with him and Fab. They did When the Money Goes.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that to Fab, when they was sitting in the back, Fab was had to go do some time, and Hov was like, "Well, don't worry about it, you know what I'm saying? Because that way people won't even know you looking at them, you know what I'm saying? Because when they know you watching them, they on their best behavior, right?" Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things. But shout out Hov, man. I'm glad that's one thing we got in common for sure. If we don't have nothing else in common.
Right. And for some reason, as I gotten older, as much as I like his music, when you got him getting an idea of what the hell was he thinking when he said this? What the hell was he? One of my phrases I constantly use is, "I never want to be the king because the king gets his head cut off." Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't realize how real that is. If you study history, that's usually how that story. Everybody want to be the king and everybody want to be in charge. That's the nigga that gets his head cut off when the shit go bad.
Right.
So I'd rather be a kingmaker. So it is what it is.
Y'all talking about Jay-Z?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my guy right there. Yeah. He makes something. Yeah, he be teaching his music, boy.
He say it's like the disciples dissing Jesus, becoming his rival, shunning the one thing that they owe their life to. You let that man hype you to go against, man. Come on, man. You want to stop.
When he that song, one of my favorite songs by him, still
this is definitely becoming a better Discord.
That's
more Jay-Z fans.
My man say, "Y'all still holding money to your ear. There's a disconnect. We don't call that money.
Money over here."
Yeah.
What? Yeah, Hov most definitely be spitting, man. Kill JP was dope too. That was my shit.
On the same token though, that whole that I'm gonna dive a little bit more into that reparenting. I'm gonna set up this show for the church tomorrow, but we'll do this show during the day on StreamYard. But that's Corey. I'm glad you brought that up before you here, Stu. I forgot where that is crazy to just believe that that you could just make a blanket statement on all children and just say we just need to just pull them out of the house and just put them somewhere else. That level of like sometimes I watch. I try to be humble. Sometimes I'm pretty arrogant, but I do see arrogance in other people. That is a wild statement to tell somebody. I don't even know how you would start that conversation. Like, look, your son is out of control. We're gonna take him out of this house. No. Wow,
that's right.
What'd you say, Stu?
You seen the caveman inheritance now, right? The deeper you look.
Yes.
It is undeniable.
Yes.
That's why I'm glad you have.
Yes. I don't agree, but I see it. I can see that level of arrogance, that's literally nice man shit. You know what? Them pills ain't working on your child. We're gonna take them and we're gonna try them with another. Cool. All right. I go to first. What? That don't really make sense.
The level of
arrogance. This is gonna be a good conversation. This is gonna be a good topic right here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Pull somebody out of their house. Like pull a child. Someone you agree with them. They had that child. And all parents ain't perfect. Okay. But to have the gall, the unmitigated gall, to actually say the words, we're gonna reparent this one. And then fuck up the term so much. Reparent is for adults. You just apply it to children. And now I'm gonna go watch this interview.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna watch this interview. I find it hot because I'm not an Aaron Leisure fan. I was a fan of them at first, but I started seeing some things financially that started striking me more like Christian rather than financial literacy. But the fact that he said this on Earn Your Leisure, and I'm just now hearing about this, even that says a lot. So I'm gonna watch this. He said that in front of two black men.
I want to ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think he didn't know what the definition was, or the women who asked him what he meant when he asked it? Do it seem that they didn't know what it meant either? Because I never thought about he didn't. I'm going to tell you something. When I first saw this interview, it was about maybe a week and a half ago when I seen this. And I looked up the definition. That's why when you gave the definition, and that's why what I said in my possible word. And remember, that ain't nothing that I believe. I just said that trying to, Stu had said something that kind of made me mad. And so I said something that I did. But that being said, since we know what the definition of the word is, who didn't know what was being talked about?
I'm lost. I don't know. Because
it seems that he didn't.
I don't think he didn't know. I don't think he knew. I don't think
he
knew.
I thought it was that they didn't know. And that's why he said they took him into context. But now that you say that, I'm wondering, I got to go back and watch it too. Did he know what repenting meant?
No, I don't think he knew. I think he took a concept.
He knew. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you, because this was the first interview he used.
No, don't say nothing, Stu. This is for the panel.
10 seconds, Stu. 10 seconds, Stu, and I'm going to give you the floor. The reason why I'm saying I don't think he knew is because even if he knew the definition, see, when he starts on the interview, that's why I want to watch the interview, not the next thing. And that's a good point for A1. Because Stu, when he started talking, he was talking about adults. He was talking about all Americans. He was talking about creating, what we call them out here is Job Corps, but creating like things where adults can go that aren't doing well in society, and drugs got them messed up, or maybe some mental issues got them messed up. That's what he was talking about. But the way he finished it on EYL was he started talking about black kids. So I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna stop talking. I want to see the whole, and not just.
But this was the first time him said it. I think there's older interviews where he said it in front of white people, but I can't find it. But I've heard him said it before. That's a crazy dude. But that's a white dude. Some can get away with it. This is not the first time him say it. When you look at black kids, when these Icemen look at black kids, they're seeing savages. That's why the black and white question is one of the most important questions for black people. Because when they look at you, what you think that mentally they see? You think they're seeing the equal? Do you think that they want black people in America, in their perception, to be equal to white people? No, that's always the fight. That's a fight for the last, even before civil rights, that was the fight. Right? Integration means equality. They don't want integration. And anybody who tell you that they want integration, look at the cabinet. Look at Mar-a-Lago pictures. When you see pictures of Mar-a-Lago, what you see? Not about equality. Right? They prefer to be broke and hungry. But as long as they feel like they're superior to non-whites, they're okay. That's a conversation that we should be having.
But so you want to sound separate but equal, Stu? So you want to be? So you think that when they was
no.
back in the day?
I'm not saying no. I've never said separate but equal. Separate but equal has nothing to do with equality. It has never had nothing to do with equality. Because whether you live in Jamaica, whether you live in Trinidad, it's opportunity I want. If you say equal opportunity, that's what I want. I don't want equality in terms of race. I want equality in terms of opportunity. Because rich people have always drink better water quality than poor people. Rich people have always had better air quality than poor people. Rich people have always had better restaurants, better schools. But separate but equal, it was never ever possible. Because when you separate by race, you always have some people who function, who socioeconomic is always at a lower level. I want equity. I want equal opportunity. That's what I want. And let us fight it out from there.
Right.
Because we're going to win every time. Anytime the playing field level, black people win.
Yeah. Where you from, Stu? What country you from? Where you from?
I'm from Jamaica.
You from Jamaica? Okay. Yeah. So things in Jamaica very different than America, bro.
Yeah, him and
different?
him and Cedric grew up together.
Cedric is not from Jamaica.
Y'all both grew up together. That's what he told me, bro. He told me y'all both grew up together. Don't fight it.
No.
He said y'all was in the same schools. Y'all had the same parent. All that shit.
We don't have the small island mentality.
He said y'all had the same parent too.
How is it different? Tell me, how is it different? Because Jamaicans come here and function easy in the society. Because how is it different?
So Jamaica functions a lot different than America. Number one, due to governmental powers. Number two, due to what the construction was and how the construction went about of these two places and the reconstruction of these two places, right? Here over like in Jamaica was quote unquote a base, whereas though America is the capital, basically, right? Like everybody, like to the rest of the world, America is a shopping mall. It's only to Americans is this home. You see what I'm saying? Whereas though over in Jamaica, that is more so of a trading port. That's more so of a base that the French has set up, Europeans have set up on. That's not the capital commodity of where their operation is. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to governmental, when it comes to schooling, when it comes to even the different quote unquote races of people and how they operate, the systems are just very.
All right, I'm going to tell you a secret. I never thought this before. a secret that immigrants have over the Americans. It's an open secret. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I tell you the open secret what immigrants have over non-immigrants, especially immigrants of color. You see, because they're in a country that is one person, that everybody looks similar, they recognize what they recognize the impact of wealth. They recognize what money does. They recognize that once you get money, you are not exposed to the same experience as the poor. So even if you're black, you're white, or you're Chinese, they recognize that once you have money, your experience will be different. That's why when immigrants come here, they hustle so hard to get the money. And that even when they can't afford it, they hustle hard to live in the neighborhoods that look like money is from there. If you look at most Jamaicans and you look at the neighborhoods where they live, it's because they recognize that poverty has its own intrinsic problems. That's what most immigrants are.
Can I let you in on the secret? Everybody
go
know
ahead.
that shit.
Everybody know that shit.
Everybody believe it. Right now, there's a such thing called a black reality that we also come up against. Now, you need to speak to that.
What's black reality?
So for an example, what Chef was just talking about, right? He was talking about the immigrants versus the non-immigrants. Chef was just talking about the black reality, right? So there's a man right now by the name of Terrence Howard. He's a movie star.
Yeah.
Been nominated for Oscars. Man got a Golden Stone, all of that. But he's got money. But because he's not considered a physicist, because he's not considered an astrophysicist, because he's not considered a scientist, with all
he's not considered those things because he's not those things.
Are you comparing Terrence Howard to Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Let him land this plane.
Just because in America he got money, that does not mean he's going to be treated as such. Why? Because he's black. That's the black reality of things.
No, he's stupid.
Okay. Oh, that's not true. He's stupid. Let me answer that. No. Do you know if you have a child with brain injury, when Dr. Ben Carson was alive, it takes you almost years to get an appointment to see him, and he's black? Do you know that people line up and ask Neil deGrasse Tyson to become speakers at the presentation by the hundreds every day? There's certain things when you're talking about the black situation, the black whatever word they use, you cannot use Terrence Howard as an example. Terrence Howard is a lunatic.
A lunatic?
He's a lunatic. Of course he is. He's a lunatic.
Well, hey, Stu, that's your question.
No. He is a you have to first agree with me on that. Is he not a lunatic?
No,
when it comes to science.
No,
when it comes to science. If he was talking about acting, I would have said yes. But he's in a realm
that schools teach today. Is that the correct model of the atomic model?
You know the atomic model, right?
Yes.
You know the spin cycle.
No, stop.
No. Let me break it up.
Just answer them. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
No, it's not the correct model.
The best freaking job in
America. The atomic model that schools use today is a falsified model. That's not the correct model. That's not what
I don't even know what you're talking about, but I know you're wrong.
Are you talking about how electrons are arranged? Are you talking about how electrons are arranged in an atom, in an element? That model you're talking about? Where the first shell have 2 atoms, the second has 8, the third has 8, and they talk about the spin cycle 2p. Are you talking about that model? What model is the correct model? Teach me the correct model, because I learned that 50 years ago.
I got you.
So teach me now.
I got you. The correct model is vibratory wave functions, or as they like to call them, wave congregations, right? So you can't, it's a reason why you can't see an atom. Is a reason why you don't know where the exact location of a particle is. And the reason is because it's not a solid thing. It's not a point in space. What it is a vibratory wave that's happening. And so when you understand that, you gotta disengage.
All right. Let's start from the beginning. Hydrogen, 1 neutron, 1 electron. Is that correct? Helium have an atomic mass of 2. It has 2 electrons. Is that true? Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, potassium.
Between an electron and a neutron.
No. Is it that electrons and protons are equal in an atom? Is that true?
Their spin are not the same.
In an atom, are electrons and protons, do you have equal amount of electrons and equal amount of protons? You have isotopes which are different, but we're talking about in an element. Does protons and electrons are they equal amount?
No, they don't function like that.
All right, okay, all right. We'll stop talking. You don't know nothing about elements. From you say no to that, you don't know nothing about elements. Tell me the first 10 elements of the periodic table. Tell me the first 10 elements, and I'm going to ask you for the first 20. Because we get introduced to chemistry,
just give us the first 10.
Just give me the first 10.
Give us the
first 10 elements.
To be sitting here listening to some Terrence Holloway.
Yeah, you're sitting there listening. Give me the first 10 elements of the periodic table. And what are the atomic masses? Because the atomic mass is important, especially when you're doing experimentation, when we're doing titration, when we're doing valency, when we're doing balancing of equation, when we're doing mole and molar concept. Tell me the first 10. I tell most people that I forget more than what they remember, that they know, you know. I tell people that I don't tell lie, you know. 3 things fucked me up in life, you know. Weed, pussy, and alcohol. When I was 13, all of my friends was 21, 22, and they introduced me to pussy at 13. And school wasn't important after that. So tell me the first 10. This dude coming here and talking about Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard is retarded. That's a lunatic. If he's talking about acting, I would listen to him. But when you listen to him talk, and you said, seriously? Are you talking about you comparing Terrence Howard to Neil deGrasse Tyson? It's like you're comparing the butcher to Dr. Ben Carson. Two of them use knives. One use a scaffold, one use a butcher knife. But two of them use blades. But what them do with the blades is completely different shit. We need to stop this. We need to stop this.
That wasn't what he was saying, was it? He wasn't trying to say Neil deGrasse Tyson and Terrence Howard. Like, no, he wasn't doing that, was he?
That's what he was implying. But you see, because my problem is...
Can he come off the mic and say for himself that he wasn't trying to say that Terrence Howard is on some Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Hold on one second. It was Terrence Howard have an interview with an actual physicist. And not Terrence Howard said that the atomic model that they used was wrong. The physicist said it was wrong.
It was simplified for ordinary people to understand it. It wasn't wrong.
Because they're not stationary. That's the point. That's the whole point of what I was saying when it comes to schooling, right?
What you understand by stationary? Tell me now. You use the word stationary. Now, elements around the nucleus of an atom are not stationary. They move. They rotate around like how the planets rotate around the sun. Tell me what you mean by stationary. Do they have certain areas, zones at the state that we call shells? Like the first shell is a K shell. I try to remember. It was so long ago. I was my strokes and all of them fuck with here. I can't remember. But we used to have KLM shell. And when we draw it, we put 2 electrons in the closest shell to the nucleus, to the center. And then we put 8 after that. 2 up top, 2 down, bottom 2, to the left, 2 to the right. And we say, oh, that's a stable electron. And we say, what are stable stable elements? Helium is a stable element. Hydrogen, helium. The one is 6, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron. The one, the 10th one, after oxygen. Oxygen is unstable. Right? It reacts with everything. It has 6 electrons in its outer
You're
shell.
talking about the
It has
lightest
2.
elements, right? You're talking about the lightest.
No, we're talking about elements in general. If the outer shell if they don't have 2, 8, 8, 8, 8, they're not stable. They either give electrons or receive electrons. That's why you have certain bonding in chemistry. Like you have covalent bonding, you have ionic bonding. Right? Ionic bonding is when it loses or gain an electron. Covalent is when it shares an electron. Tell me now, and this is off the top of my dome from 40 years ago. Right? When I did organic chemistry for the first time, when I was doing normal chemistry for the first time. You tell me now, you're talking to a 50-year-old man who have not looked at a chemistry book for X amount of years. You're a young man who listened to Terrence Howard. And Terrence Howard is the authority to you, dude. Is there an insane asylum that you escaped from?
No.
Oh, God. I'm going on mute. Because this Terrence Howard tell somebody, and them said Terrence Howard was talking to a physicist and agreed to it. Most concepts, they're simplified. Even organic chemistry, they're simplified. Let's talk about maths. When you're doing maths, they start with simple maths, then you move on to algebra, then you move on to calculus. They don't just throw you in calculus. They're simplified so you can understand square roots, so you can understand certain things before you move up the line. When some scientists are speaking to laymen such as myself, they're speaking simple language. Because even the interview what Corey put on the table the other day, and the first 10 minutes of it was giving me a headache. And then I start using my brain, slow it down, start listening.
So you from
simple.
Dude, you from Jamaica, right?
Right.
And you've never heard of the Tree of Life.
Never what?
You've never heard of the Tree of Life in Jamaica.
The Tree Alliance?
The Tree Alliance.
Why are you moving the argument? That's not what we're talking about. What is the Tree Alliance?
Asking you a question. Have you in Jamaica, when you grew up in Jamaica, right, and you were learning information, right, whether it was cons or not cons, they've never told you about a symbol called the Tree of Life.
What is it? Probably I don't know exactly. What's the symbol? What does the symbol look like?
It's a bunch of circles.
And what they use it in maths to explain.
He said the tree of life. He said the tree of life.
The tree of life?
Yeah. Did you ever hear that?
Tree of life. What kind of metaphor?
It's the Kabbalah. It's the Kabbalah.
Wait, who teaching you them things?
I think he's talking about the Kabbalah.
Yeah.
No.
No. The tree of life.
I'm talking about
TREEOFLIFE.
Hold on, I got you. I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that circular structure that you can find in China that's sitting up under that lion's foot. I'm talking about those circular shapes that you can find on 3 pillars at Karnak and Kemet. That's what I'm talking about. So are you saying that when you it's not even this is just in this day and age? This is basic understanding if you're into your ancestors. If people that people that say, okay, I come from Jamaica, I come from Cameroon, I come
Stu
from.
Peas, remember that conversation we had that the internet is not for everybody. Sometimes too much information, bro.
Really, man, they got on their 10-foot cookie, man.
What I'm saying is, did you never sit down with
Alice? I'm not calling you Alice as a smudge. I'm calling you Alice out of respect. Alice, do not look through the looking glass. You're not ready for it yet. Start simple. Do not follow the white rabbit, Alice. Do not follow the white rabbit. Do not go down. Do not go down the hole, Alice. Right? One pill don't make you large, and the other one don't make you small, Alice. Alice, you're lost. Don't come back from that world through the looking glass and think that that world was reality. Where up was down and down was up. No, Alice.
Up is down, down is as above, so below, as within, so without. Are you not familiar with that immutable principle in life? That's a principle in life. You do know that, right? Are you not familiar with that?
Someone save Alice, please. Save Alice.
Man, where's Betty at? Where's Betty at?
Are you denying? If you not know that you're made up of stardust, you are a collection of stars. You do know that, right?
Elements are formed in stars. Everybody knows that.
Hey, Chef, the homie Ali Bay, that was my last fight. I'm out the game.
No,
it's crazy,
Fetty, you're young, Fetty. I'm old, Fetty. Help me, Fetty. Fetty, I'll tag you in, Fetty. Fetty, I've tagged you in, Fetty. Fetty, take this fight from me.
This is your generation, Fetty.
This is your generation. Fetty, you take this fight, Fetty. Save Alice, Fetty. It's yours. Go ahead.
It sounds like he's trying to connect with, he learning about the spiritual principles and the other paths and the trail life and all of that, boy. There's going to have to come like a certain phase of your understanding to where you got to let a lot of that go and try to operate within like a physical reality, unfortunately. I mean, and that could be tough, if you dedicating all that to the ancestors and you got that mind frame. It could be a tough transition, but you can't go around imposing that whatever on others because they may not operate that way. I'm saying.
So really fast, Fetty, everybody on this panel just heard Stu. I asked him about as above, so below. He said that was crazy. So I asked him, I said, do you not know that your very body is made of star stuff? He said, yeah, elements are everywhere. So when I said as above, so below, and he called me crazy, why would he call me crazy if he just agreed with the very idea that I just presented? Am I crazy or is he crazy? If as above, so below was a thing, and we know this because we are made of the same elements as above, then how is that something that's,
our
crazy?
Stars above you. No, our stars above you. Is the sun above you? No, it's a simple question. Is the sun above you? No, relative to where they sit in space. Is the sun above you? I'm asking a simple question. Is the sun above you? The sun that we look at every day, is it above you?
Yes.
Don't do him like this, Stupid. Don't do him like this, Stupid. It's not fair.
Have you ever seen a diagram of the solar system?
Yes, I've seen a diagram of the solar system. What does that have to do?
Does the Earth rotate around the sun?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's put it together. Let's look at your car. Right? You're outside, because I want you to visualize this. I want you to walk around your car. I want you to walk around your car. Right? And I'm going to ask you the question again. Is your car above you? You're walking around your car. Because we know the Earth rotates around the sun. You're walking around your car. Is your car above you?
Stop.
No. You are walking around your car. Walk around your car several times. Now I'm going to ask you the question again. Is your car above you?
That's crazy. Why would you compare the
Let me ask you again.
I
Does
feel
the
like this
sun?
line of question is disingenuous though, because
Eh?
the law that he's teaching right now is it's philosophical in its symbolism. You're trying to actually bring it to reality, like just to see if he'll stick to it, which is like that. What I don't get that, because the concept, it just explains how the macrocosm reflects the microcosm, and you understand that. But you were trying to, I don't know, maybe you want to get some points off if you're feeling funky.
No,
Go
don't.
ahead. It's
No,
on you.
this easy. This
But
easy.
if you
This
have
easy.
if
I
you
don't
have
get
like
points like this.
if you have superstitious things attached to it, and you making generalized statements in that way without really understanding the physical reality, because he may believe in the ancestral realm, different dimensions, beings. I don't know how far his belief goes, but usually that comes with. But
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro.
You know.
I mean, listening to it, I've seen a lot of people post the as above, so below. The neurons in your brain is like the gal. It's like I get it, bro. You know what I mean? But it's like you can't just go around just looking at. I mean, that's your opinion. You can, but some people don't look at the world in a majestic way like that. They operate within a framework that science and other things have shown to be replicable. You know what I'm saying? Versus having these ancestral beliefs or supernatural or different dimensions and beings and interdimension. You know what I'm saying? So just certain people have a certain cutoff. Like I gotta operate within this framework. I love my ancestors, but I know when you die, you're gone. Like there's no proof of them being in a world where they all. It's just so a certain truths. I mean that I had to come to. You know what I'm saying? Like I believed that type of shit when I was like 18, 19, 20. But it was like once I learned certain things, I'm like I gotta. You know what I mean? I gotta be logical. I can't just
I was hurt when I found out the chakras were pseudo.
Yeah, the world, when you think in that way, the world is definitely like, I don't want to say ignorant, but that belief for me was like more blissful than reality. It was like when I was thinking of the world in that way, the ancestors is with me, the as above, so all of that, you know what I mean? It felt good, but it's like I would rather deal with the truth if it's cold, if it's served cold, versus something that made me feel good. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. It's almost like another type of religion, kind of. And you do get that feel good sense from it.
So, but here's the thing. We was talking about this the other night, A1, on our panel. The issue is people feel like the ancients wasn't doing science. What they were doing was always just some woo-woo magical stuff. And what they have to understand, nowadays, science is catching up with the ancients, right? So do we not have a first law of thermodynamics? Yes.
What is the first law of thermodynamics?
Buddy, I was going to touch on that too, but and because what you're doing, what I think you're about to do is I think you're about to try to use philosophical symbolism to try to make a scientific claim, and that's where the error comes in. Go ahead, because you haven't done it yet. I thought that's what you was about to do.
Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only transmute from state to state. Correct?
What that mean? What that mean? Let me teach a class for you. What that mean?
Man, this is a full circle moment, I'm telling you, bro, because this is where remember the science convo y'all been having? This stupid piece of chef, this is the spectrum of the people who may believe that ancients was practicing science. You're seeing the extreme radicalism playing out right now. How he thinks that ancient science is actually more.
This is what Unc was arguing against.
Okay.
And tried to bring, I get you. This is what Unc was arguing against. And he superseded that over the conversation that we was having, right? He tried to say, because this is who he has to argue against, he has to cut out anything that posited the word science.
Yes, yeah,
ain't modern science. Yeah. So
y'all like the middle.
Yeah, sure. This is going to be used as a weapon to see them. This is what them niggas was trying to do the whole time.
Let's still let him land his plane on thermodynamics, though, because I wanted to see if he was going to do what I.
The reason I asked the question is because ancients have been saying this since 3000 BCE. Modern up with ancient science. This is where Unc was wrong. when he was saying the ancients, and said it was wrong when they say ancients wasn't practicing science. Because they most definitely was. They had models and everything. But the whole point I'm making is science today is now validating what the ancients were saying. Now, why is that important? That's important because I'm going to the first law of thermodynamics. Energy can't be created nor destroyed, right? It can only transmute from state to state, right? Now, why is that important? Because everything is energy. We are nothing but energy.
But 3,000 years ago, ancient wasn't saying that. 3,000 years ago, the ancient was saying that everything is water. They were saying that. No, you said, yes, 3,000 years ago, the Greeks were walking around after the visit to Kemet and see the flows of the Nile, and they came back and they realized that when the Nile raised and fell, the land became fertile. They developed the premise that everything is water. Have you ever heard about that? Did you do philosophy 101?
Right,
so they weren't saying everything was energy. 3,000 years recorded history showed that they were saying that everything is water. They weren't saying everything was energy. The whole concept of energy, the ability to the work.
But none does not mean water. Show me where none means water.
Okay, all right. Let me finish talking to you because honestly, I have few brain cells left. I want to live to about 65 and I'm good because my son will be all right by then.
None was a mythical primeval water like substance. Primordial type substance. Yeah. So the analogy of none was a type of water.
Dark. And I will challenge anybody who ever said that none ever.
Can you invite me to your group? You need somebody to push back on all of you. How much people in your group? And I like
I'm definitely going to make sure you get the link to our next stream tomorrow. So yeah,
yes,
I got you, Chef. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I need you to invite me to the group because you need somebody to push back. You guys too run as strong. You need somebody who's just as strong who can push back and bring you back into reality. I'm going to take all of you out of Alice in Wonderland. I'm going to the.
It's gonna look, hey, Stu Pease, it's gonna require a full detox though, like, cause he in the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? That shit gonna require.
Yeah. I'm going to. Yeah, bro. You see, remember my favorite horror show growing up was this show with this little girl, and like they took over her house, and they have this little short lady who had to go into to that world and pull the little girl out. What's the name of the show again? It's a movie, Poltergeist. Yeah, I'm going after go in there and save you guys.
Yeah, but
question, Humble Mystic.
Hold on,
Humble Mystic.
Let me say that,
bro.
I mean,
so do you consider yourself a person who looks for truth, and even if that truth is introduced to you, are you willing to change your mind, or are you more set in the fact to solidify your already established, I guess, ideology, and there's really no convincing. You know what I'm saying? There's really in your mind, there's nothing nobody can show you to even change from how you thinking. So trying to think of how like
and so mystics, we just don't accept anything. Things are not true for us until it's experiential, right? And so will I accept different truths that override false fallacies? Of course. But it has to be experimental. It has to be experiential. We can't just say that we can't make it and then claim, right? And then just make it valid and say, okay, well, this is valid because this is truth, and I believe it's truth. And then you introduce it to somebody, and then you bring what it's just like. I don't want to put my man Quantum on a spot. I really don't. But it's just like you introducing something new, and then you saying it's valid because you saying it's valid. But then the person that you're introducing it to is already studied in this field, and so you bringing your own stuff, trying to invalidate their stuff, but then they're like, bro, this is what the experts are saying. What experts are saying what you are saying? You see what I'm saying? So that's how it is. That's how it is with these modern with these modern people that's trying to like discredit the ancients. It's like, oh well, they wasn't doing science, and it's like, okay, well, show us they wasn't doing science. They can't.
Oh, so
Just
you
in
don't
the
trust
effort
like your
of
traditional schooling, like you don't trust like how or the curriculum. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you
Like you
talk
saying
about
go against the.
so I do not trust institutionalism at all.
No, the only reason I say that is because I think a lot of stuff that we learn fundamentally, like especially K through 12, I think will kind of go against a lot of what you may believe now. So that's why I was just asking,
Oh
like
yeah,
how
yeah.
far deep into like the paranoia of institutions and education. You just saying you think people should walk around with a blank slate and not trust the established knowledge that's been put forth. And, you know, the only way that you're not going to acquiesce to that is if motherfucker experimenting in front of your face. Is that
No,
what
no,
you're saying?
no. What I said was truth is truth if it's experiential, right? But you can't bring up a subjective truth and try to make that an objective truth. That don't work. An
You believe in
objective
alchemy?
truth,
I was gonna say,
Then.
you may be doing that as well though.
objective truth.
And yeah, I think that's what's kind of what's going on. Like that's the dynamic of it. But sometimes it's hard to see yourself when you're in the situation because he can call it out when other people are doing it, but he's actually participating in it to an extent himself a little bit. Like they just hit me a couple seconds ago, but I couldn't cut in to explain it. But go ahead. It's hard because
Do you believe in alchemy, young man? You sound like an alchemist.
I mean, no, I don't
You
believe
believe
in alchemy. Why do I have to believe in alchemy when I know it exists? That don't make sense. Alchemy as a study exists. Why do you have to believe in it?
Yeah. Yeah.
and when
Yes,
you use
yes,
the
I
word
can.
experiential and with truth,
You say you sound like an
doesn't that make it
alchemist? That's a
subjective?
crazy statement right there.
Because
You
it's
say
hard
you
to prove.
sound like an alchemist.
Question, humble.
I can live
You
on
keep
that
saying
alchemy.
you keep talking about experiential with the word truth. Can you say that phrase again or how you were saying it so I'm making sure I'm hearing you right? I can
For
respond
me,
to that.
something is not true until it's experiential, right? Now,
Okay,
with
can I stop you right there? Because that's what I wanted to hear you say.
thought you said
Experiential
experimental,
means
my
based
bad.
on direct experience. So if you can't have direct experience of it, it isn't true.
right.
No, I don't agree with that though. I would say no, and I would push back on that. But go ahead.
I mean, it's now see, here's the thing: objective truth and subjective truth. So when we have experience, we got two types of experiences. We have objective experience, subjective experience. I'm not saying what's not true is your objective experience. Your subjective experience is subjective. Your subjective experience does not override objective experience. We all here experience the sun, right? So is our experience of the sun subjective? No, it's objective. It's there. Whether we want to believe in it or not, it's there. So with that understanding, that's a truth. That's an objective truth. Nothing nobody on this panel feel, think, have an emotion about will change the fact that the sun is an existing thing. Right? And how do we know the sun is an existing thing? We all can experience the sun. Everybody on the planet Earth experienced the sun. There's no exception to that rule.
And see, it's dangerous because with the statements that you made, somebody can go around and say, my experience proves objective truth, and that would be false.
My experience proves to you.
Objective.
Oh no. My experience proves but all about so the difference between subjective truth and objective truth is subjective truth is something that is just true to you. Objective truth is something that is true to everybody. So if I say my subjective truth is experiential and so that makes it true, it's only true for me. We don't all experience my subjective truth, but we all.
If I say,
I'm not talking about subjective truth though, and it's muddying the conversation. I feel like if you can not talk about subjective, let's just stick with objective.
Objective truth. Now, when we're talking about objective truth, there is nobody that can nullify or disqualify an objective truth, right? Based off of their experience. That don't work.
My whole thing is
All
just
did.
that objective truth is what actually is.
There you go.
Experiential truth is how we get closer or test that. But you were making it like you were.
Right.
I don't know. You were using it wrong. I felt like
the term experiential, or yeah, you're using the term experiential truth. That's subjective truth.
Okay. Oh, that's what. But I thought you were saying that that's the reality, like because you find out what's real through your experience.
Right. But
and I was saying that's subjective. So experiential truth is, yeah, we agree. But you were saying it different back then. But I digress. I don't want to drag it. You don't got to drag it. Let's let the conversation progress.
Around the difference between subjective truth and objective truth, but you call it experiential truth. You feel me? And so, in that regard, experiential truth is something that just you think is true. Objective truth is something that is true, no matter whether you think it's true or not. You see what I'm saying?
All right. Young man, the part you're walking, stop right now. Don't take a step further. Don't take a step further. Please.
Hey,
Please.
bro, listen, I've been doing this for about